Up, down, down, left, right. Then B-A start, the screen goes white. It's the cracker, Whitey Cracker, the game genie. 8 bits with the 8-inch weenie. I don't break bricks, I'm not Mario, but I'm still old school like Atari, yo. I'm the highly freestyly, Dr. Wiley. Beat me 3 times and you win a smiley. Underground like the sewer where I kick it with rap. Yodel back, Ninja Turtles, Cowabunga, where you at? Jump on the can and the bricks where I'm landing. Gotta get the Triforce, gotta begin. And they called him the wizard in California. Power glove on my wrist, just had to warn ya. Pitter patter on the power pad, track the field. Or be like Rue's dad and get your chest peeled. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Yeah. In between neighborhood laser tagging, we'd all get together for some double dragon. Helicopter kick Bobo off the roof. Have all his henchmen like what the hoof. Then we butt heads with battle toads. Double tapping right to run that foes. Sometimes I hit him with the double fist. Then pop those raps just like assist. It kinda sucks now cause my nest blinks red. I blow and blow but all my games are dead. Thank God for ROMs and Nesticle. Played at every geek rap festival. This is the nerd rap entertainment system. And I hope you like the rhyme I spit. Cause the Whitey Cracker stay nerd forever. If you wanna repeat, just hit reset. Yeah. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press start on controller 2. Nerd rap entertainment system. Please press play on your system 2. Yeah.
What's up, meatbags? It's the often imitated, never duplicated Tony TGG, and welcome to Real Talk with Real Geeks. Not sure if that's the name of the show, if we're going to be deciding on something else, what we're going to do, but that's what I like for right now. And of course, I'm joined by Blinded Braille, my right-hand man, the Laurel to my Hardy. What's up, Blinded?
What's up? What's up, chat?
I just dated myself. People are like Googling Laurel and Hardy, like, who the hell are those guys? Are they on TikTok?
Oh, man.
And of course, also, we're joined by DL. What's up, DL?
What's up, all my geeks out there? That song's a banger, by the way. This is my first time hearing it. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it is.
It might become the new official song of the show. And we got Justin Proper just popping in. What's up, Justin?
Hey,
Oh, what's up?
what are we talking about?
Nothing yet. We just started. We're waiting for RJ. He messaged me, said something about he's and I'm reading a quote here. I'm not hip with the lingo, but slaying some veg. I'll be right there.
Oh, he getting some pussy?
There he is. What's up, RJ?
Hey, what's good, everybody?
What's
How's
up?
everyone doing?
Pretty good.
Very
Good,
solid.
good.
Very solid.
By the way, I thought I was an hour late for like a hot second until I realized you're on Central Time, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm only like 5 minutes late. So,
Well, not even the
thank
intro
goodness.
song just ended.
That is true.
So we always play an intro song. It's like 3 to 4 minutes. So if you're running a little late, you're still good. Now, Finbar says RJ was laying some carpet.
No, I don't think I was.
Yeah, I'm about to say, is RJ getting some pussy?
are we gonna just ignore the euphemism of laying carpet, or fuck it, who cares?
No, I think that's what it meant, Justin. We were leaning into it because I said RJ was out there slaying some veg. That's why he was late.
My God.
man.
All these children. All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The writer saying he doesn't care if you hated the movie. No spoilers.
Of course.
We're not going to get into any spoilers. We're just going to talk about the writer's reaction. We're going to talk about the fact that there's speculation, and it's just speculation at this point, that the new Superman movie might include an extra little hero. Of course, we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian, David Filoni and Rick Famuyiwa talking about how they're going to handle Cara Dune. You know, she's going to be sent back to her home planet, and her ship exploded on the way there.
Oh man,
It's gonna be she's gonna get Poochied.
That she is. She probably is. I haven't read the article, so we'll find out. And Micheal B. Jordan shooting down some rumors about being the Black Superman. And lastly, the one that got me worried is David F. Sandberg going on Twitter saying something that does not fill me with the most excitement for the upcoming DCU. We'll get into it. We'll explain what's going on. But what's up, chat? What's up, everybody? This is the second outing of us trying to talk about movies. So hopefully it goes well.
I have a question. Has who here, before we get started into Tony's topics, who has seen Cocaine Bear?
I haven't.
I mean,
I wanted to see it, but I have not seen it yet. I'm hoping maybe sometime this weekend.
Oh my god, you guys suck.
I heard bad things about it, so I didn't see it.
sick.
You heard bad things?
Yeah.
Who are these idiots that you're talking about? This was a great movie overall.
From what I heard was the marketing was very deceptive, and it's not the way the movie is. Like,
No, you must be confusing that with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. You need to see it for yourself. It is great. It is funny. Anybody who is saying otherwise, like, go fuck.
Let me ask you, Justin.
I
Was it a worthy film to serve as the final performance from Ray Liotta?
You think that it's the final performance, but he has a few other movies coming out later scheduled. But if this is the last one that he actually participated in and acted in, yeah, it's a good send-off.
I also kind of got red flags when I found out Elizabeth Banks is directing this. I'm like, oh no.
That's because you're a sexist and
Yep, I know. I ran to that one.
all right, so Justin,
but it's actually really fun, and I hate saying this all the time, but you guys should really watch it.
Well, see, this is what I read. It came up in my Twitter feed because I follow Mr. Jarbo here. He says, I cannot in good conscience recommend Cocaine Bear as a movie needed to be seen to save more unique films. It simply did not live up to the hype, and its deceptive marketing is going to rob a lot of people of their money.
And he is wrong. He is completely wrong. No, I disagree. How
much screen time? How much screen time does the bear have in the movie?
A good chunk of it, and every time the bear is on screen, I mean, it all comes down to just what your expectations are for a movie. So if you're expecting like a grand masterpiece, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're expecting a good, fun time at the movies, you're going to have a great time. So I disagree with Matt on.
But I've heard that when it comes to this movie, it isn't nearly as zany and fun as it could have been. Like, it doesn't go all the way and being insane and wild.
Well, that's because you need to watch the movie for yourself before giving an opinion.
No, I'm not saying I agree.
Watch the movie. You form your own opinion.
I will watch it at some point, but I'm waiting for Creed 3 at the moment. And
that's fine. That's fine. As soon as it comes on streaming service for some of you, you can then talk about it. But
oh shit, we're joined by Mr. John Campion. What's up, John?
But I completely disagree with Jarbo.
Blue Jay has popped in. He's joining us also. So we got the all-star cast. Finbar wants to know. He says, "What's the other movie that they got coming out? Meth Gator or some shit?" No, that's Asylum. Asylum is actually doing.
Yeah, the Asylum is making their rip-off movie of Cocaine Bear called Meth Alligator or Meth Gator or something. Yeah.
They should have went with Crocodile.
Is that a real thing?
Crocodile.
Yes, the Asylum is making a rip-off movie, Cocaine Bear, called Meth Gator. Yes.
I don't think it's a ripoff because it's not a bear, right? A ripoff would be like if they went Meth Bear or like.
But you know what I mean,
Super
though. It's
Bear.
one of those movies meant to tie into
Like Acid Panda.
a real movie.
Yeah.
Acid Panda.
I think this is more of like a homage.
And then a lot of people are thinking about about how there was recently in the news a huge load of cocaine that was left in bags in the middle of the ocean that authorities had discovered. And the question given to Elizabeth Banks was, hey, is there going to be a sequel like, Cocaine Shark? And I'm like,
Oh, God.
and I don't know, if I was her publicist, I would just say, like, no, because you're going to be compared to Jaws and Deep Blue Sea. No, don't do it.
That can't be
Don't
bad.
do
Just
it.
Deep Blue Sea sucks.
Don't do it.
As long as it's better than Deep Blue Sea, right? You're good.
Oh, that's
I
the
mean,
standard we're setting.
yeah.
Like, as long as it's better than Deep Blue Sea.
I guess if the precedent is, nothing is better than Jaws, but it's better than Deep Blue Sea. That's the happy medium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the sucky part about this year, which is a good thing for, I think, fans, is that starting with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania 2 weeks ago, pretty much every single week from here on out, there's a movie coming out. Like this week, it's Creed 3. The next week, it's Scream 6. Then it's Shazam. Then something else comes out the week after. John Wick, and then Dungeons and Dragons, and then Mario. So it's like every week there's a movie coming out, and it's great for fans, but it sucks for me because like it's hard going out to the theater sometimes. So it's like trying to see so much every single week on a budget, you know.
Well, look at June.
Saggy says you don't know movies that you shouldn't be on the panel, RJ.
That's pretty ironic coming from someone who has to milch off of my Disney Plus to watch content.
Yeah, Saggy is like one of the biggest casuals I've ever seen.
Oh,
this is true.
Oh, man.
Damn. Even DL had to call Saggy a filthy casual. Damn.
All right, that is the truth, my friend.
Since RJ and Justin weren't here yesterday, I'm going to propose the question that I proposed to the panel. With Ant-Man 3's underperformance at the box office, is this going to become the Marvel equivalent of BVS, where it's going to cause them to shift focus, try to rewrite, change the narrative, or are they going to just plow ahead and continue on the path that they set? What do you think?
Define underperformance.
It had a 70% drop in its second week.
Okay. Well, I think I should speak before RJ because he's more informed than I am. But as someone who was supposed to grow up, and was the target audience, like Iron Man came out when I was 12 or 13. I should have been the target audience. And that first Iron Man film, I was like, yeah, that was another superhero movie. And I was like, that was kind of lame. It was like, whatever. So I have a skewed and rocky relationship with the MCU. There's a lot of highlights and a lot of low points that I've seen. And I have no intention of seeing any MCU movie ever again. And if it's underperforming, that should clue into Kevin. Kevin should be listening.
He's a big fan of the show. He's listening.
Yeah, I'm sure that's. But keep in mind that you are, and this is something that he's probably contemplated. Just keep in mind that you are now on the uphill battle. You are no longer on the top of the game. You had your, high point with Endgame, and now you have to reestablish and rebuild. And right now, you're doing a terrible job. So rethink your shit.
Okay, so
and at the end of the day, it's just if people like it, that's cool. But I haven't seen it, so I don't care.
I've heard mixed opinions on it.
Yeah, you really have to knock it out of the park, like you did with Spider-Man: No Way Home. But that's a special occasion. You can't rely on special occasions to get everyone invested into what's coming next. You really have to draw people in to be able to be invested in whatever you have left in mind as a showrunner. Essentially, that's the role he's playing. So, just keep that in mind.
All right, what do you think, RJ?
For me, I don't necessarily think that this is the movie that's going to make them change things. What I mean by that is that they were already starting to make changes before this movie even came out and did what it did at the box office and got the reviews that it got. I think that it was part of that. I think they kind of knew that this. I mean, listen, I saw the movie. It's fine. I don't understand people saying it's one of the worst movies ever, or it's the worst MCU movie ever. There's been way worse Marvel movies. Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World.
Iron Man 3 was decent. I disagree with that.
Wow.
Decently trash.
Point being is that
whatever.
Well, actually, no, they didn't have any AC/DC in it, so
that's what I'm
trash.
saying. But I mean,
you're saying no AC/DC, it was trash. No,
that's that review. So we put on the board with on the box. But I think that they're already starting to make changes. I think that the MCU. They're going to be fine. People say that this is the death of the MCU. Don't really know what they're talking about, in my humble opinion. They're going to be perfectly fine. They have some really exciting stuff on the horizon with Daredevil, with Secret Wars, King Dynasty, Deadpool 3 especially. They're going to be just fine. They're just in the middle of some growing pains right now. And a lot of that's because, again, I've talked about this numerous times. The expansion to Disney Plus has not been the best. I think it's diluted the brand a little bit, and I think it's kind of created an issue where there's a lack of quality control because they're trying to expand so much, they just don't have the time that they need to for making sure that their movies are up to snuff the way they used to, because they're trying to focus way too much on streaming, which is, again, that was a Bob Chapek edict,
and he's out.
Was it really? I feel like it was more the remains of Bob Iger.
It was a little bit, but the issue was, it was basically Chapek being hey, we need to pump out content, but do it faster and cheaper.
Yeah, but Bob Iger just went on record, and we read an article where he basically said the same thing, that he wants to make cheaper movies and shows.
Mm-hmm.
That he's slashing budgets. So that does not fill me with a sense of wonderment going forward.
Well, I think when it comes to Marvel, because I
mentioned Marvel specifically in that.
No.
Yes.
Well, I think with Marvel, it's because they're trying to make too much stuff. I don't think it's about limiting budgets in terms of the money spent on projects. It's being hey, let's focus on quality over quantity and not make 20 different things.
I would agree with you, except for he specifically said we're cutting the budgets of the shows and movies because they've gotten too expensive to make.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't see that specific quote, but I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, I can understand that. I mean, to be fair, I think the streaming wars in general have not proven to be the fruitful endeavor for the industry like that we thought they were. It's kind of ironic because you're seeing, for example, David Zaslav emphasize, you know what, streaming's whatever. It's another business avenue, but let's focus on making quality films that we put out on our services and sell it to other streamers. Things are just very weird across the board in the industry right now. Because I think after the pandemic, everyone thought streaming was going to be the biggest thing ever. And it's still big. It's still a big moneymaker, but it's not the end-all, be-all like we thought it was.
Well, I never thought it was.
Back.
Those people who thought it was were really dumb. Because like we said yesterday, you can go to the movie, and every time you go to the theater, you have to pay again, right? If I see Iron Man in the theater 3 times, I've paid 3 times to see it. I can watch Iron Man 100 times on Disney Plus and only pay Disney Plus once. Plus see all the other movies that they have, right?
Yep.
So I don't see how anybody was like, yes, that's a comparable, the money that they're going to make at the box office. Somehow they were going to turn that into Disney Plus money. Like, that made no sense.
Well, yeah. And not only that when it comes to the Disney Plus thing, but I think also, too, Disney Plus has kind of impacted the Marvel movies because I think an issue right now is that they have, I don't know if it's Disney corporate that forced this or what's going on, but the 45-day window is not working. People are waiting 45 days to watch. Like, I don't know what happened, but like they stopped being must-see events. Like everyone rushes out opening weekend, but the repeat viewing's gone. Before, people, including fans and casuals, would go see a Marvel movie like in the second and third weekends and go see it again and again and again. Now they're just seeing it the opening weekend and they're not coming back.
Well, it's not even worth going a second time.
Yeah.
I'm about to say, do you know why?
Yeah, it's kind of like
nice.
The
quality has diminished.
Some movies are worth a repeat viewing and some are not. And
exactly.
Yeah, well, here's the thing though.
Hold on, RJ, because DL wanted to say something. He kind of got cut off. It was a little low.
It's okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. But yeah. Okay. So I agree with RJ. I don't think the MCU is in trouble. I don't think Ant-Man the Wasp broke them, but they should be worried. They should be worried because the more they put out these mediocre projects, or they're entertaining films, but the writing is dumb. If you really think about it, that's what Phase 4 was. And apparently, Quantumania kind of still feeling the funk of Phase 4 from Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania. And so I will say, if we continue to see films, I would say, if we start seeing 3 or more, that's on the level of that, then I would start to get worried.
Well, here's the thing, though. Everyone's all the quality stuff. I mean, let's because I did it because I think DL, you're on that panel. We looked at Phase 4 this far, getting ready for Ant-Man.
Yes.
There was nothing truly bad. We had Shang-Chi, we had No Way Home, we had Miss Marvel. Really in Loki, we had really, really good stuff. Really awesome things.
See, okay, so and you know how hard I was going on the shows too. So there was only how many was even in S and A tier? Not a lot.
Not a lot, yeah.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of average stuff is being put out.
How many things were in A tier before, though?
Yeah.
How many Marvel projects were truly in A tier before?
I would say here, hold on. There's something not being said. The quality of Marvel movies right now, I would say the writing is bad, but people also should look at the filmmaking. The visual effects are piss poor, really bad.
Yeah,
that's why I do not like Ant-Man 3, because it is it gave me, I had such a hard time watching it because the VFX were so bad that it was actually hurting my eyes because there was no depth, right, to the image. And then on top of that too, the editing is terrible, right? So they're rushing out these movies and all the filmmaking elements that were decent in Phase 3, 1, and 2. Even if you didn't like the story, they were still competent, well directed, well edited. The visual effects were good. I mean, look at Age of Ultron's VFX and compare them to Ant-Man.
No,
right?
Listen, Blinded, I agree. The VFX thing is one of the biggest issues they're facing right now, which is why it seems like they're cutting back, and they're also pushing movies out and spreading out their release dates. Because we just heard about the Marvels getting delayed to November. That's all for post-production.
And that's from a normie perspective. I'm really disappointed with something like Thor Ragnarok. Where my issue is not. Has never been with, shames me to say that not only the writing is bad as always, and directing, I wouldn't say always, but you know what I mean, and the special effects, were always top tier, even with Ragnarok, which I walked out of the movie theater, and apparently I was ahead of the game because so many people hated
I love it.
Thor: Love and Thunder, and I'm
Love
like,
it. Love
yeah.
it.
I'm like,
I'm
thank
glad
you for
somebody's-
joining the club. Finally,
Ragnarok, yeah.
you didn't see it then. I saw it bright and clear, but I also, was ignorant in the aspect of the storytelling and the story with the MCU as a whole. Like, I was not up to date with it, and I was aware that the MCU was the MCU, but I just was like, these are just a bunch of dumb fucking superhero movies, and only with Infinity War and Endgame did I kind of realize the big picture. And I just didn't care about Chris Hemsworth being the lead character as Thor. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, but so many people thought that Thor: Love and Thunder was that bad. And then
I mean, it is bad. I think Taika Waititi knows that it's bad as well.
Yeah.
It
why
was
would you
middling.
go out of your way to make a bad movie? Like, so it's clearly just.
I mean, I don't think any of
money
these people
as
go into
opposed
it
to
expecting to make a
passion.
bad movie.
Whereas I can tell a little
Ryan
bit
Johnson?
that Ragnarok had some sort of passion behind it, but I just didn't care for it. It's just like, I appreciate what you're doing, but I just hate you. Like, I don't hate you, but like, I hate the movie. I hate the movie that much.
I will say this: for you guys to rank the Phase 4 projects and tell me there was no garbage, with Eternals being in the Phase 4, your opinion is invalidated, RJ.
I don't. Well, listen,
there's a lot of
I
garbage.
didn't hate. Well, listen, it's a hot take.
I love how I'm
I didn't
the
hate
only and my
Eternals.
opinions are not invalidated, but RJ's are.
Well, no. Like, listen. Like, I am a Marvel fan, but I will and I'm gonna be a little bit more, forgiving in a sense. Because that's fair. I'm very upfront about that. Like, I'm very optimistic.
Now I'm seeing what everyone else is saying.
But
look, I'm a huge shill. I love Marvel, but even I am so tired of it that I didn't go week 1 to go see Ant-Man. I probably won't see Ant-Man for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
but you should. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing too, right? Like, it's a long-winded. This is a long-winded way to answer your question, Tony. But like, I do think they're making the necessary corrections. It's just that it's going to take until next year for us to see it. Next year is when you're going to start seeing, okay, you're going to see the ramifications of Marvel changing their production schedules, their VFX schedules, and as well their creative changes. Because they are making creative changes and they are trying to fix the mistakes thus far that were made during Phase 4. It's just that it's taking a minute to see it because, they plan these movies out so far ahead.
What mistake? So this is what I find weird, RJ. You're like, they're correcting the mistakes of Phase 4, which you just told us had all those great movies that you were ranking up there.
It had at least 3 truly great movies, I think it had 3 truly awesome movies, and
which
2 or
would
3
you truly awesome?
Wait, what was the third one? I only know 2 that we talked about.
I'm trying to remember exactly because there's so
I'll
many.
give you the movies: Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Doctor Strange,
Thor,
Love and Thunder, and then Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Those are the movies for Phase 4.
So for me personally, this is me personally, I think the best movies, obviously, I think the ones that truly are great were Shang-Chi, No Way Home, and Wakanda Forever. Those 3.
Oh my God.
Those.
Yeah.
In terms of the TV shows, I think the truly great TV shows were Loki and Ms. Marvel.
How did you not say Spider-Man: No Way Home is obviously the GOAT?
Yeah, of course, everyone's going to say that. Yes,
but the Eternals garbage. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I'm sorry, it was middling at best.
It had a lot of problems.
Lots of problems.
I would say the best Phase 4 is Shang-Chi, No Way Home, and I think I like Doctor Strange quite a bit, but Black Panther.
I like Doctor Strange too, but that movie is very flawed.
But going into Black Panther, I was thinking man, this is gonna be God tier. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I watched it the second time. I still liked it. I should be saying this should be a freaking masterpiece.
Well, to address your point though, Tony, about like what are they changing? I think the biggest thing that they seem to be changing is they're cutting back on Disney Plus, putting the focus back on the movies, and they're also seemingly going to be spending more time in post-production where they haven't been before. So, because the biggest issue with Marvel, and this is even what James Gunn kind of alluded to when it came to his philosophy when it comes to DC Studios, I don't know why they keep doing this. Well, I know why, and I'll get into it in a second. Marvel continues to roll cameras and start filming movies when the scripts are not locked. They're constantly refilming and redoing the scripts as they're working on the movie. Why is that? Because back when Iron Man and some of the Phase 1 movies were coming out, that's what they did, and they think because those movies worked that it's just part of the creative process and they can do it whenever.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Wait. Can I just say something?
Hold on.
Yes.
No.
No. I'm being serious. That's exactly what happened.
All right, guys. Blind did say something, and then I want to get to some of these comments in the chat.
Yeah. First off, the reason why Marvel does it is because it has worked time and time and again. It's not because of Iron Man. Iron Man was like that because of it was just a mess of a production, right? Marvel has figured out they are notorious for what's called pixel crunching, right? Where they aren't satisfied with a final product until it's out and the audience can see it, right? And so they will always make changes no matter what. Even if there's a finished script, they are like, listen, we need to improve this. We have to improve this with test screenings. It has to tie into other movies and shows. So to me, I feel like Marvel is only doing this because they can, and it has worked before, right? They need to have a string of 6 failures in order to be like, oh, snap. Maybe we should lock down everything and maybe even disconnect a little bit if it means the product itself is better for the long run, right? So that's really why they do it.
I mean, though, it's like they thought like it was a working strategy before, like constantly retooling scripts and like retooling them as you're filming, but now it's biting them in the ass. Right. So that was the point I was trying to make.
All right, so we're gonna get a couple of these comments real quick. Vortex, he says y'all are underestimating the MCU's popularity worldwide. Just because 3 random ass dudes didn't like it, there's still fans, kids, etc., who will watch it.
The box office for Ant-Man, if Ant-Man doesn't touch 500 million, that should be pretty scary for them. Yeah, so this is not true. Like Marvel movies usually average before, the Infinity War and Endgame, they were averaging maybe 700 to 800. So I think it's okay. But some movies like Doctor Strange should have probably made $1 billion, right? Black Panther should have came close. Yeah. So if all these movies going forward are now only touching 500 million when they should be making 700 million, that's going to be a big problem. So I don't agree with that.
It's still much to make. You can't be making 500 million or less if it's $200 million budgets.
Yeah. All right. He also said, he says, why was Moon Knight hated so much? So hated. Everything was solid until episode 6.
The story made no sense, and they changed the rules every episode.
Sure, it was a crappy CGI fest. Sure, Scarlet Scarab didn't make much sense, but it's dumb to hate a whole series because of single.
No, it's a bad adaptation. It's one of the worst adaptations for Marvel. They misunderstood the character. They try to jam in so many different character arcs from Moon Knight. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
It was a mess from beginning to end, and I especially hated it. I talked about this a lot when we talked about Moon Knight. How they would set something up, be like, "Oh, this is going to be a cool fight scene," and then he's just in
and then they cut away.
What happened?
Pitch black, and then open to carnage. Wait, what?
And I love Moon Knight. There's a lot of great Moon Knight runs. I love the character, and they just dropped the ball on him. I was so disappointed.
All right, UAG says, "I miss the old Hulk. They emasculate him. Hulk is my favorite character."
Yes,
and I am really disappointed with what they did with him. I'm hoping the only thing that's got me on like maybe there's a plan here, and I'm hoping that they're working in the direction of turning him into the Maestro to be like a big bad.
Yeah,
I would hope.
There's a lot of issues with the whole
because right now, because in the comic, what they did was they took the personality of Bruce Banner and the Hulk and they merged them into one, and that's how they created the Professor Hulk. But in the MCU, it is clear that this is 100% Bruce Banner's brain in the Hulk's body.
Hulk body, yeah.
Which leads me to believe that there's a Hulk personality in there being getting resentment and anger and like, hey, you've locked me away. You think that you've cured yourself, but in reality, what you did was you put me in the closet. You put baby in the corner, and nobody puts baby in the corner.
World War Hulk.
Okay?
Oh yeah, we're getting Scar.
Sean O'Rourke was popping in the chat. He says he only watched Ragnarok one time. He only watched Black Widow one time, Shang-Chi one time, but he watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness 3 times.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, I still like parts of that movie, especially the ending.
I have not seen a single, I'm a huge MCU fan. I'm a huge Marvel fan, but I have not seen a single MCU movie multiple times past Phase 2. Like from Phase 3, 4, I just watched them the one time. And that was it.
You didn't even see
Yeah,
Spider-Man No Way Home more than one time? I
No.
saw that movie at least 3 times in theaters.
Well, we know because you're the biggest Spider-Man fan ever.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, of course. But I mean, even then, like that movie, like, woof.
Well,
The movie's great, yes. But
There are special occasions where those sort of circumstances should be taken into account, where everyone who is not necessarily an MCU fan, they just want to see all 3 Spider-Men
Mhm.
on screen at the same time, and that is as simple as it gets. Toby, Andrew, and Tom. That's it. That's all they care about. And seeing the old villains is great, but that's a special occasion that is not reflective on how the MCU is going to be or be moving forward. Like after seeing that movie, who gives a fuck about Doctor Strange? Who cares? Who cares? Once you have
I'm a Dr.
Toby
I'm a Dutch
and Andrew and
Well, I
Tom
want to see the Defenders.
all in one movie. Who cares? Who cares? It's done. Like everyone cares about that. They move on with their lives, and then Doctor Strangelove or whoever the fuck.
Dr. Strangelove.
You
Like,
say that
has
now.
his
But
own
you
movie.
say that now. But
By the
when
way,
we get
I
Michael
know you
B.
have
Jordan's
comments. I know
Human
you have
Torch-
comments, but let me get my
Listen,
point.
Justin. When
But
we
look,
get Michael B.
my
Jordan's
point
Human
is,
Torch
my
meeting Chris Evans' Human Torch in Secret War, you're gonna go nuts.
yeah.
No,
I didn't even
no,
hear what
no.
the fuck you said, Tony. With all due respect, but the point is, why would you give a fuck about anything else after that? Like that's like
Wow, but
that's
Justin,
the
in Secret
biggest
Wars,
thing
you could probably see
that's-
everyone.
no. After Endgame and No Way Home, Secret Wars. Nobody knows what Secret Wars.
But they're gonna know that hey, all the old X-Men and Spider-Man actors are back. Nicolas Cage is back as Ghost Rider. Like limitless possibilities.
If they do that.
If they do that.
They're
is that
gonna.
gonna happen? Is it?
I would say
Is it
it's
gonna
like
happen?
I say it's like 80% likely. I
If
mean,
it's
dude,
No
Hugh Jackman.
Way Home is fucking dumb. Y'all honestly praise it for nothing more than cameos. As much as
Oh, I agree with that.
Oh, yeah, if you really
I
if you really sit
I
down and
agree.
think about the plot, it makes
Oh
no
no,
sense.
I praise that movie for more than the cameos. I think it's a great movie for Tom Holland. I think it really excels his character.
I liked the other Tom Holland movies. I did not like No Way Home. I thought it really ruined his character, made him look like a really crappy friend. And in the ending, they try to, because he went against all his friends' wishes. Because he was like, no, I'm in the right here. I need to rectify things, and people, I ruined my friends' lives, and they were like, hey, listen, it's okay, and he still went with.
Also, it fucks up the whole message of Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Yes, that's another thing too. That's another big
Why?
problem.
Hold
Why
on,
does it?
because this is really important to Spider-Man's character, right? When he doesn't stop the robber that ends up killing Uncle Ben, he feels guilt and responsibility for this
Mhm.
action because of his inaction. His uncle died, and he wants to make sure that no one else feels that, right? No one else suffers because of him not doing the right thing. In No Way Home, he does the right thing, and Aunt May dies. So what message is that? Oh, stop being Spider-Man because you're gonna get fucking people killed.
No, because the whole point of that is that even when you do the right thing, you may not always win in the end, but you still do the right thing regardless. That was what Aunt May was trying to tell him. It's like sometimes doing
But
the
how
right
do you
thing
learn that message?
ain't gonna
What
always
is the
pay out.
regardless? Just do the right thing because fuck it, because reasons.
Well,
So
look,
that's why
look,
people
man,
hate
I
fantasy.
think you're overlooking the reality of what happens in life, and sometimes you do the right thing, and it will,
Yes, Spider-Man
no
gets
matter
through a lot.
how,
No,
matter.
losing
how-
MJ as his love interest, losing Ned as his best friend. That was the result of him doing the right thing. But also,
yeah,
getting his aunt
but
killed. It's like
you were talking about the specific scene with Aunt May, and you're disregarding the fact that this was a 3-movie arc that led to him, having an origin story like that. It's something that
It's still weird though. You have to admit it
it's
is
weird
weird.
that
That's
you
the
haven't
burden.
seen
The
it
burden.
before, and I understand the criticisms of it,
Mhm.
but we can't forget that the fact that this poor guy, has been through a lot, and he tries so hard in this specific instance with Aunt May, and it's a lesson to him that sometimes you will fail, like you will lose.
Well, and the
there was
burden of
nothing.
Spider-Man.
Hold on. And there was nothing you can do about it. And that's a good lesson, that everyone can learn. Not only, just like with the older audience, but the younger audience as well. And it's very important because we don't see that in MCU films very often. We don't see that sort of growth, that character development. It's usually just, oh, it's an MCU film. All right, whatever. And then we move on. Like,
but
and
there is character arcs though.
yeah,
he did.
We understand that there are character arcs in MCU films, but they're mostly boring.
Okay,
and
but
no one gives a
Justin,
fuck about
you've
them.
seen the second.
But when they're
Spider-Man movie.
Not
given
really.
care and respect, that's where it thrives. And I
Justin,
think,
but you've seen the second Spider-Man movie, right?
yes,
He
Spider-Man
learns the
2.
exact same lesson.
And
So why,
You just said it was boring, and they repeat an arc.
no, I was talking about what is boring to me is just the rinse and repeat cycle of MCU films as a whole.
So wouldn't you classify his arc in Far From Home and No Way Home as rinse and repeat because it's identical?
Yeah.
Far From Home, I didn't like.
We're saying you didn't like it. It has the same arc as the one you liked.
And it was like in comparison to, we just got over Thanos and Endgame. I'm just like, this is, boring in comparison. Like I was not a fan of that. But Homecoming I liked. But Far From Home coming off of Endgame was not that great. But this movie just was a little bit more impactful because it showed more depth of all of the characters, and it made me care for Zendaya, for example. I don't know. Does anyone have to comment with my stupid rants?
I mean,
We allow them here. George says,
I feel like everyone disagrees with me and are like wanting to.
No, I
It's
I
okay.
get what you're saying, Justin. I kind of like only thing I was going to say is like the whole burden of Spider-Man is that he's a guy who constantly life just craps all over him. Like no matter what he does, even if he's always doing the right thing, he gets the short end of the stick. That's the whole point. It's
except
not
for the
good.
supermodel wife that he ends up with.
But even that, the writers have kind of said, well, you don't even get that Peter Parker. So I mean, it just depends on like what they do with it. The whole point though is that even when Peter Parker wins, he still loses, and that's what No Way Home is exemplifying.
So he's the guy
even
from
when
White
he's
Man
doing
Can't
the right thing, it doesn't always work out.
Sometimes when you win, you really lose. Sometimes when you lose, you really win. Sometimes
Yeah,
you die,
I
like
mean that's
Rosie
kind of the
Perez
point of
said.
Spider-Man.
All right, the George says, comic book movies need to stand out more because of how many we get now. Only trailers that impressed me so far this year are Guardians 3, Flash, and Across the Spider-Verse. I wasn't impressed by the Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know about the rest of you. I didn't see the first one, So the second,
I mean, the
movie
teaser's
trailer-
the teaser's cool, but it just didn't show that much for me to be like, oh yeah. I mean, I'm still excited for it, but like the trailer didn't like blow me away.
It's like it's a teaser, but I think the next
Definitely
trailer
a
comes
tease.
out. Yeah, but I think the next trailer is going to be like balls to the walls, crazy, insane. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, it just goes to show you that I'm sorry, RJ's not going to like me saying this, but the Marvel formula is not as diverse as people think it is.
And that's why James Gunn made that comment that he did in Variety, where he says comic book movies can't just be about, the heroes beating the villains and the blue beam in the sky, right? We've seen that 30 times now with the MCU, right? There needs to be a little bit more moral conflict, right? It's got to be a little bit more gray, right, to keep things interesting and wanting audiences to come back, right? And I have to agree with him.
And more importantly, they need to let go of this vice grip that they have between all these movies where everything has to be interconnected, or they need to set up something, or they need to put these cameos in here, like to the point where they can't miss anything without being confused about the future projects because they didn't see this movie. Oh, you're not going to understand this movie if you don't see this. Oh, you're not going to be able to understand this show if you don't do this. They need to let go of that vice grip.
It's not even like that in the comics.
Yeah,
it's not like that in the comics.
All right, real quick, I'm going to get to this Vortex comment.
Okay.
He says, because it isn't a one-on-one adaptation, he's talking about Moon Knight, does not mean it's bad. We've gotten Civil War and Infinity War that were just titles from the comics, yet those are highly praised. They're highly praised because they're good, right?
Yeah, like one, there's just, I can't even talk. Like, the thing is,
Moon Knight's just a bad series.
It's just a bad adaptation. It takes way too. There's so many things that you could have done for later seasons, but you jam it in. You do the Jeff Lemire run, you do the Ellis's run, then you do like stuff from obviously classic Moon Knight where you got to tell his origin, and the one before Michael Bendis. I forget the guy who wrote that, but there's just so many different things. Like, remember, Moon Knight is a character who was relatively obscure. He doesn't have a lot of runs. So for them to just be like, oh, let's just take all 7 of these great things and jam it together and then put like this really crappy villain in it, like, it doesn't make sense.
And they still managed to have Moon Knight only have like 12 to 15 minutes of screen time throughout the entire show.
Yeah, and they don't. And his character, the hero Moon Knight, is all over the place, right? Because in the comics, it was always, or well, not always, but sometimes it's ambiguous if Khonshu is real. Sometimes he is real. So it's like you kind of have to pick which one if you're going to consistently have this character reappear in the MCU, right? So they went the round of, well, he's real, which is not really my favorite interpretation, but it is what it is.
I think he should have been real for the series in the sense that Moon Knight thinks he's real, but still left a doubt for whether or not he's actually real, right? Like, Moon Knight sees him, and we've seen Khonshu, and he walks around, and maybe he's moving stuff, but maybe that's in Moon Knight's mind. Maybe it doesn't really happen. Introducing the Egyptian gods is like, look at all these more and more powerful people that exist that have done nothing in the MCU. Just like
exactly, there's too much supernatural and powerful stuff going on. Nothing feels special anymore. And then on top of that, with them introducing more of these supernatural threats and cataclysmic events, it's like it's messing with the physics. I'm not even going to go into the rant about how the Eternals physics make no sense and it literally breaks canon of the entire universe. But like, there's only so many characters that they can introduce where stuff like start feeling convoluted now.
All right, I think we ranted on before topic stuff before.
It's almost an hour long.
Stop hiring Ricky Morty writers, Marvel. God damn. Stop.
Yeah, they got like 3 of them.
This is from the Daily Beast. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania writer doesn't care if you hated the movie. After the historically bad box office numbers for Quantumania, Marvel's newest screenwriter found himself feeling deflated until he discovered a beautiful way to shake it off. So first off, why did they hire someone new to do this, right? Why didn't they have the screenwriter from the previous?
Well, Paul Rudd co-wrote the first 2 films. I don't know why he didn't co-wrote this one.
I think it's because this writer he's a Rick and Morty writer, right? a lot of Rick and Morty episodes, especially the ones that he's written, is very multiverse focused, right? And I've said one of my criticisms of this movie is there's a lot of jokes that they steal from his episodes of Rick and Morty, and it's just
He's
like,
stealing his
come
own
on.
material.
Yeah, he's stealing his own material. So I can understand why they hired him. It makes sense, but he's never written a movie before. He should have written a smaller scale movie before this one, right? Or co-write it with someone else.
George says this feels similar to how Taika didn't care for Love and Thunder. Yeah.
That's a good point, man. Because the writer for Rick and Morty, he has a lot of good ideas, but maybe should experiment more, not with a major motion picture, that's
Connected to the huge
one of the greatest franchises of all time or most profitable ones or blah 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 bullshit. But do something more creative, like where he can expand his horizon and expand his creative chops, and maybe he can have a concept that was like, oh, I did that in Rick and Morty, maybe this will work for this. But don't do that on a major scale if it's your first time doing that. It's just this is all fun, but the MCU is not a toy. It's not a playing ground for as much as it may seem for rich idiots, to play with. What's that?
They're definitely trying to sell toys with these movies.
Yeah, sure.
Even really big toys?
But the movie franchise is not a toy for rich idiots to play with.
I agree.
It should not be that. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, as I've always said. And fundamentally,
I agree with Justin, except for in the bedroom. If you can't, you should.
I never mentioned the bedroom in any aspect. By the way, can you get the fuck out already? It's been 2 weeks, dude. All right, that didn't land. So
I was like,
I was very confused.
Someone in your closet.
Whatever. The point is just hey, assholes, in the MCU, just make good movies and don't just come here to claim for a paycheck. Don't just take this for granted. This is a big deal. Don't act like it isn't. Yeah. I don't know. It feels like everyone's going through the fucking motions and it's boring.
All right, well, let's see what he has to say. It says, we're going to skip most of the fluff here, but it says, at 48% rotten, the movie's relative failure by standard metrics is giving people pause. That even includes the film's writer, Jeff Loveness. To be honest, those reviews took me by surprise, Loveness told the Daily Beast in an interview. A week after Quantumania release, I was in a pretty low spot. Those were not good reviews, and I was like, what the? Loveness made his Marvel debut with Quantumania, which is a huge step to take for the first ever feature film script. To go from Jimmy Kimmel Live staff writer to Rick and Morty Emmy winner to member of the MCU cabal is an impressive feat, but it feels a little less impressive when that movie is dragged across the coals as much as Quantumania has been. Our own publication called it a chore of diminishing returns. It goes on to say, I'm really proud of what I wrote for Jonathan Majors, who plays the villain King Conqueror, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Said Loveness. I thought that was good stuff, and so I was just despondent. I really was really sad about it.
I mean, those were, I would say, the best parts of the movie was that flashback. So yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, it says, but there's something funny about review scores and box office grosses. They each tell their own side of the story. And as any moviegoer knows, rarely is any drama so black and white. I went to a showing of the movie after the reviews were in, and the movie was out, the writer said, and an audience was laughing. And it was one of those Sullivan's Travels, watch the movie with the prisoners moments, like the character in the famous Preston Sturges film, Hollywood comedy Hotshot John Sullivan. Loveness found that the movie was accomplishing exactly what he set out for it to do, even if the industry wanted him to believe otherwise. Oh, now he's saying that it's not real, guys. It's not real. People are loving it. He went to one showing and a couple of people were laughing, and apparently we've all gotten the movie wrong.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's just another way of saying, "Hey,
Cope.
critics, shut the fuck up."
He was just huffing that copium right in the theater. Just
He had a bizarre tweet that was just don't tweet stuff like that. That's all I gotta say for those who know.
so apparently he wrote a sketch for Jimmy Kimmel because he's a
He
big
used
fan
to be
of
a
Marvel.
Jimmy Kimmel writer, apparently.
Yeah, but I'm saying he specifically wrote the Wes Anderson Spider-Man sketch.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that pretty much looks like that's it. He's just coping.
I mean, again, what do we expect from the guy? I mean, does he? Do we expect him to say like, "Oh, my movie sucks," and sorry, I wrote a bad movie? I mean, no.
Yeah, that's what I expect. When you do bad things, that's what they teach us as children. When you screw up, you take responsibility.
Well, but
sorry,
again,
guys.
it's objective though,
I
because
tried my
some people
best.
did like the movie. So I mean, what are we gonna do?
Unfortunately, that's not how the industry works. You know, it's like you fail upwards, one, and two. It's just like what people really love is that the fact that you could make things happen, and that's it. Like no one cares whether the thing that you made happen was good or bad. They just want you to make it happen, and it's just so disappointing that we've set such a low standard of writing, in the industry, and I'm very disappointed with mainstream films, not so much with TV. Like you can have good writing, but it's such a shame that you have to look for it. You have to look very hard, and you can find gems in a pile of trash. But
well, to be fair, writing is hard. Okay, regardless of whatever you're writing. It is very hard. So I do not blame him for making something that I didn't enjoy, right?
Here's what I'm going to ask, though. I think it's an important question to ask. Do we blame the failures of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania just on the writing? Or is it potentially more so an issue with the VFX, the crunch, and the directing?
No, I would say it's a mix of everything.
Because
a mix of everything.
Well, if you guys think that the failure of Ant-Man was, like as a whole, that ultimately comes down to the showrunner, Kevin Feige, and he should be held accountable.
I think everybody should be held accountable, right? Because he hired the creative. Yeah. The creative should have made a better product or gotten more constructive criticism notes, right, instead of just doing their own thing, right? I'm sure Marvel was trying to save this movie too. We know that they sort of reshot the ending because it tested bad, or they thought it was too similar to what happened in the previous Ant-Man movie. So I feel like things like that, the more they do that, it's gonna ruin every single movie, right? Because now you're taking away the story beats and trying to change it where it's like, oh, we got to fix the ending because people don't like it, but the ending makes sense for the story you're telling. So that's a conflicting thing, right?
Yeah. One of the issues too is people don't seem to realize when you write something.
Good point.
Hold on, just when you write something, it doesn't always translate well into the film, right? You write a scene, you're like, oh, this is awesome, and it looks really good, and you read it, and it sounds good, and everyone's excited, and then you film it, and you're like, nah, that shit didn't work. And I think that might have been one of the issues because he's used to writing Rick and Morty probably for so many years, and it's probably a lot easier to adapt his writing into cartoon.
Yeah.
And when you adapt it into live action, you're like, oh shit, this is off a little. Like
possibly. Yeah.
Well, also, like, writing for Rick and Morty is not the same as the MCU. Just like, you can't just write yourself out of a situation with, like, gee, Rick, we should do this. Like, it's bullshit.
Man.
Like, they claim they want to get these writers so they can figure out the weird concepts of the quantum realm and stuff like that. There isn't really anything that like mind blowing about the quantum realm that they needed these writers to do it. All of it seems pretty basic. Like,
and the thing is, Marvel has the microverse. There's so many stories that take. Well, they kind of do, right? I know there's a rights issue, but they've kind of gone along
Well, that's why they
Yeah.
call it the quantum realm.
Can you
Yeah,
explain
but
what the microverse is?
that's like the comic version of the quantum realm. There's a lot of rights issues and stuff because there's a couple of characters that are associated with the microverse that is owned by, yeah. But the thing is, they still own the characters, but they call them something else. And there's some characters that don't appear on the team, but they could still. The thing is, right? You don't have the rights, but you can create analog versions, right? Or be like, oh, let's take a little bit of this and put it here, right? So you don't have to just like straight up adapt because you can't, right? Legally, you can't. But things like that, I wanted in the movie. Like I wanted them to explore those. There's like a bunch of Fantastic Four and Inhumans comics that take place in the microverse with Ant-Man.
There's a great Hulk story arc that takes place in the microverse.
Yeah.
All right, so
Hulk. Yeah. So
basically, it's a universe, but it's really, really tiny. In like a speck of dust is like an entire universe.
Yeah.
It's like Horton Hears a Who. How's that sound? I think that'll explain it the best. You know, in Horton Hears a Who, where he's got the little dust speck, and there's like the whole town of Whoville inside the dust speck.
Yeah.
That's the microverse.
Yeah, they also have the macroverse too, by the way.
Yeah,
which is the opposite.
By the way, I like how you guys are giving specific examples of things in the comics. Maybe you can go more into detail about that. I would love to hear about that. But one of my pet peeves is that, but in the comics, it's like this, and I fucking hate those people, and I hate those arguments. Not those people, but those arguments where it's like, but in the comics, it's like this. I'm like, okay, which one? Which adaptation? Which 1,000 pages like do I have to surf through to understand what you're talking about?
That's why I don't read comics. I don't read comics.
And that's why, I mean, I don't expect these Marvel movies to do one-on-one adaptations, right? But I do think that if the idea worked in the comics that was appealing to a lot of people, you should take it and try to rework it in a sense that it makes sense for a movie, right? Because it's not going to make sense to just rip this and put it on screen because there's so much context to that story arc that was in the comics, right? So yeah, that's how I see it.
And again, the argument is what comic? What
well, here's the thing, Justin. Here's what I would say to that. It's very specific. Like if you were going to call something Civil War, obviously you're trying to invoke the Civil War comic, right? You're going to call something Infinity War. You're trying to invoke the Infinity. So I would expect that run to be adapted at least the best way it could be, right? And then for you to go, this is Civil War, but it's not Civil War. It's just we're just using the title. Then that kind of pisses people off. The same thing with like the quantum realm is supposed to be the microverse. And it's not supposed to be this like flashy lights and all this like spectacle. It's just supposed to be another universe, really, really tiny, right? That's it. That's literally what it is.
Yeah, and that's what's annoying when people are complaining about that. It's not exactly, accurate to the source material, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, it's not like the Harry Potter books where there's a set number of books, and we have a set time frame, and we have a set number of characters, and we have this, and these are the movies that we are adapting, and when it comes to comic book movies, I'm just so conflicted because yes, I'm uneducated when it comes to comic books because I've never read
that's okay
book in my life, and I'm just very confused when so many people are just complaining about little things, and I'm like, dude, have you ever heard of the word adaptation? Like, that's the point. And if it's done terribly, like, okay, that's fine. But if something like Civil War, when people are complaining about how it wasn't completely 100% accurate, I'm just, my head aches, when it comes to these conversations. And you guys seem like you have your heads outside of your asses. Thank you for that.
Maybe not, but yeah.
Like you're open to ideas and open to interpretations and open to the fact that not everything is going to be like completely accurate.
Well,
And I
it
love
can-
Okay, but if the adaptation that they're creating is 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 less interesting in comparison, that is the problem. That is the
And
big
I agree with that. If you make something less interesting than the books, like I understand that argument, like oh, the books are always better, blah blah blah. I don't care.
not always.
But
Not
just
always.
as a movie, like I am a movie goer. I watch the movies. So, so
Casual.
what's going to intrigue me, like even as a casual goer, that's where I come from.
Well,
But
here's
anyway,
what I think. Like I said, obviously you can't have the comic books, the MCU, DC maybe because it's a fictional universe that doesn't really exist. It's kind of like our universe, but not really. So DC is a lot easier. But with Marvel, you literally can't adapt one-to-one because it's most of it. The early stories are set in the 70s, right? It's set at current time always in the Marvel comics. So that early stuff is not going to work. You can't have some guy doing a experiment with laser beams and shit inside of the middle of a middle school gym so Peter Parker can get bit by a radioactive spider, right? It doesn't make any sense. You'd be like, where the fuck's OSHA? How is the school allowing this radiation experiment to just happen out in the open with no safety precautions? Doesn't make any sense. So you have to change things.
there are some things that are ridiculous, but
I mean, it's all ridiculous. But what I'm saying is there's certain things that you have to concede, like this has to be changed. And then there's other things where you go, okay, well, what is the core, right? What is the core of Civil War? Well, the core of Civil War is supposed to be that it is a complete split in the superhero community with two sides. One side saying, hey, we're going to register. We want to be, by the book, by the law. And the other side going, hey, sometimes we have to do things that are not by the law. Like we can't be beholden to governments because a government might be corrupt, right? If the United States government has a corrupt president and we're beholden to them, now we're corrupt too, right? Would we just not going to dethrone the president because, hey, well, we signed the accords? No, right? So there's a split, and that's supposed to translate into the Civil War movie. But the movie was, hey, you know a secret about this guy killing my parents, and I'm mad at you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's fight.
On top of a lot of other things.
Oh, okay. That's a good point because that is what is supposed to be like a good plot. Like we have like actual disagreements, but then you throw that in there, and then it's like, okay, now it's personal, motherfucker. Like
I mean that storyline has its problems too. I'm not saying it's totally perfect, right? The comic book of it, right? But yeah, I mean, it has a very interesting premise that you can sort of pick and choose.
Also,
what
just
to do
wrapping
with,
up in like, they don't have like it's not like the very beginning of Civil War. They're like, all right, boom, we signed the accords and we're mad. No, it's like 20 minutes into the movie, so like, it's really Civil War is like what 90 minutes of movie. That's it. Like this huge major event in Marvel was reduced to like 90 minutes movie.
Well, yeah, because it's got to introduce Black Panther and so many other things. Yeah.
Well, whereas at least Infinity War, even though it's one movie,
well, not only
but you had the whole arc of the Infinity Stones, so they
Mhm.
kind of covered.
Yeah.
But not only did it introduce Black Panther, but it introduced the new Spider-Man, which was the. Oh my gosh, that was like.
Well, that's what we're saying.
This is the third Spider-Man in less than 10 years. Oh God.
What they should have done was.
But
Civil
thank
War,
God he was good. He was good.
Civil War should
I'm
have
very
been
mad. I'm very mad at him because he's like less than a year older, like not older than me, but younger than me, and like this young guy. It's like I'm thinking
you're that close.
Like, I could be that Spider-Man. Like you son of a bitch.
Yeah, but like I was saying, Civil War should have been the start of something, right? It should have been like Civil War, and then a couple of movies where like you've seen the impact of what the split in the superhero community was, and then a follow-up movie that like, all right, everybody came back together, right? This was just like we're mad at each other. Oh, we're back together at the end.
Well, they weren't back together at the ending, to be fair, but yeah,
you know what I mean. They weren't.
They apologized. They apologized at the ending, but they were still on like shaky grounds, right? Until Infinity War. I mean, not even until Infinity War, until Endgame.
Yeah, but in Infinity War, like they They were in there, weren't they, at the beginning?
Well, Captain America and Iron Man never met in Infinity War.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, George, doesn't that make you think like, oh my God, like Tom Holland, the same age as we are, and holy shit, what the fuck are we doing with our lives?
Yeah, well, that's Vortex brings up another good point. In Civil War, one of the big moments in the Civil War story arc was Spider-Man unmasking in front of the world and saying, "Look, I'm Peter Parker."
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do that in Civil War. What are you talking about?
The comic
in the comic, yeah.
Let me start all over. One of the big moments in the comic book Civil War.
Oh no. Okay, we get it.
And that, like I said, that leads into then he goes, "Wait a minute, I fucked up. I made this huge mistake. I should have. Why did I do that?" Because he changed sides, and he goes to the other side. He's like, that's where he ends up having to do the whole like, I want people to forget my identity thing. It was a choice, whereas now in the MCU version, it was, oh, this guy tricked me.
I didn't even like the reveal in Civil War, though. That's always been like a point of contention for Spider-Man fans.
Sean said,
I mean, it was kind of funny, but
like at the end, of
it depends on the character.
Even at the end of Iron Man, though, that was kind of lame.
Yeah, I mean, Iron Man, his identity wasn't revealed in the comics until much later, right? So,
well, they kept hinting that it was going to get revealed, and then like he would do something like, "Oh, an Iron Man suit shows up, like automated."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, apparently I'm not Iron Man because there he is." Or then like Rhodey would be in the suit.
Yeah, Rhodey would be, yeah, and then he wasn't because he got traumatized. Yeah.
I mean, they kept like doing things like he was adamant to protect his identity until eventually, I think it was after. Armor Wars. It was during Armor Wars because the suit gets taken over, and he accidentally kills somebody, and then they basically he's forced to reveal himself. Well, you're Iron Man. You murdered that dude, right?
Is that the first one or the second one?
The first one.
Okay.
Because they do something to his suit and it malfunctions. And he like fucking repulsor beams some dude.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, like the other superheroes, they don't know what's going on, but they know he's Iron Man, so they kind of like, "Hey, dude, you're Iron Man. You just fucking killed that guy. Like, we can't cover for you."
Man, like from 2016 until 2019 was just a string of like back to back banger MCU movies. Man, that was like peak.
Except Captain Marvel
and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, I like Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Not a fan of that movie.
Better than Quantumania.
Captain Marvel was terrible because they had no idea what the fuck they were doing when they wrote that movie.
Oh, really? I thought it was
no, there's just so much. There's a lot of weird stuff with Captain Marvel. I mean, especially what they do with Marvel. I didn't like that.
Even all beyond all that, right? You know, I will concede all points of how they had to write it, why they chose to write, certain characters. But what I'm saying is, the Kree is supposed to be your twist. Like, oh my God, they're bad guys. You mean the bad guys that were revealed to be bad guys in both Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Guardians?
And Guardians.
Well, to be fair, they never acknowledge. They don't acknowledge Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as canon. They
right, but I'm saying, as someone who's watching TV or someone who watches movies, right? You either watch Guardians of the Galaxy and you know that the Kree are bad guy, or maybe you watch the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you know the Kree are the bad guy. You were going into
or you just know from the comics because. Yeah. That's their whole point.
Well, to be fair, I think
twist in the movie, right? It's supposed to be like, oh, by the way, we're bad guys, but they're not. Like, you already knew. You're like, oh,
Captain Marvel was a weird movie because they gave it to two very inexperienced directors and a very inexperienced writer, and just said, do an origin story, but make it to where the protagonist is like not even really herself until the very end of the movie. So just make her like a wet blanket because she's been robbed of her personality, but don't establish the character's personality or what she's like whatsoever.
Was that before or after they met Brie Larson?
Which Brie Larson is not a bad actor though. That's the thing.
No, that script is bad because like again, it just made the character like.
She's forgettable in a lot of
roles. No, because
The Room. Sorry, not The Room, but it's called Room. That's a good movie.
Everybody says Room. Okay, anything else?
She's great.
Scott Pilgrim.
Jump Street. I forgot she was even in the fucking movie. She's so.
No,
good.
The Room is pretty good. With her performance, I would say that's pretty good.
Sean says she's hot though, so it's okay. That makes sense. Captain, like I said, here's another problem with Captain Marvel. Right, It is a character that normies do not know. They had no idea who Captain Marvel was, and instead of telling the
Which
origin
Captain
story-
Marvel though?
yeah. But I'm saying even
Shazam.
they seen, oh, it's going to be female.
Exactly.
That's all they knew was like it's going to be this female Captain Marvel, right? So they go into the movie theater, and instead of the movie being told in chronological order, so that a
Mhm.
normie can understand who she is and what she went through, you're just like in this jumbled mess. Like, oh, now you just start in media res. She's got powers and she does some stuff, and she might be bad. I don't know. She's working with the Kree and she's an alien, but maybe not. And you're like, what? What the fuck's going on? Like, as a normal, just normie person, you're like, what? What's going on? Oh, she was on Earth, but she's not an alien, I guess.
Mm.
She got power. Where did she get her powers? Oh, now we got to wait till the flashback and the flashback
So
in the flashback.
this is totally unrelated, but I just thought about this because it came out today. Did anyone see the trailer for the new Disney live-action remake Peter Pan and Wendy?
Don't get me
I saw
started.
screenshots.
Oh, get me
It
started.
is directed by David Lowery, who's an independent filmmaker and the filmmaker behind The Green Knight. And
It
Yeah,
does
he,
feel
he already
like
did a
Green
Disney movie.
yeah,
he
and
did,
apparently, and apparently, it's actually like really good.
That's what they
That's
say.
the word on the street. at
That's what they
least.
always say, though.
I mean, he's a good director, so I mean, I'm kind of surprised they just put it on Disney Plus. I mean, The
didn't
Green
wanna
Knight was
bring
pretty
that
good.
up, simply because there's the big elephant in the room as far as Tinkerbell's concerned.
Oh, the race swapping.
Oh, instead of lost boys, it's lost kids.
That's-
Oh man. Oh boy.
Like I like okay, and
It's like you're not a boy, so
yeah.
But isn't like boys like boys, men? They're universal to mean mixed. Girls is always just girls. Women is always just women. But boys or men can be mixed between the two. Like if you said, all right, guys, let's go. It could be men or women in the group, right? It's not exclusively only men.
sure.
That's how I didn't decide how English works. That's how fucking the English language works.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an interesting conversation.
No, it's not.
I mean, yeah, that's
That's how it works in Spanish too, by the way.
Great. I mean, that's the least of my issues with this movie. But
Have you seen the movie yet?
have I seen the movie? I didn't even say it was. I didn't even say it was bad. I'm just saying. I mean, can we judging from the other live action remakes we've gotten over the past few years? Why should I think this one's going to be any different?
Superman.
The director? That might be it.
I hope it's adapted from the 1924 version, the Silent Film.
I have an issue with this article already.
Uh-oh. What's your issue?
They
Clickbait.
well, it's clickbait for one, but two, they got it completely wrong. This character will not be in the Superman movie. They will appear in the Supergirl movie because if you read the comic, that character is really important in the Supergirl comic. So
Unless the horse is in the Supergirl comic, because the horse is in love with Supergirl. Yeah, that's a thing. There's a superpowered horse that used to be a dude that got turned into a horse that has Kryptonian type powers that's in love with Supergirl. And they actually write comics where he fantasizes about being with Supergirl.
Superman has all these weird animals in the 60s and 70s.
wasn't there a super monkey?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other
Yeah,
ones
super
too.
chimp.
Super
Yep.
chipped.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is why are they using Henry Cavill?
Because they just they Googled Superman. That was the first image that popped up, and they did their Photoshop.
I would have been an asshole and just photoshopped
Just to-
the bottom half and
just
cut
to
his head
piss
off like
people off.
Shazam.
Mhm.
Just to piss people off.
Wow.
They could have put James Gunn there, but
Yeah,
probably would.
so,
Yeah.
we're not going to read all this slop, but apparently they think that Krypto is going to show up in the
Because
Superman
James Gunn keeps tweeting about Krypto or something.
Not only was he tweeting about Krypto, but he said that he was actually going to work on a Krypto movie at one point.
Yeah, like I said, if you've read Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Krypto's a really important character. He's like the catalyst for the plot and why Supergirl goes on the quest that she goes on. So I don't think. I mean, they could introduce Krypto in the Superman movie and then have Krypto appear in Supergirl. I don't know how they're going to.
Well, he wants to have Krypto appear in a video games. He says we'll have the Superman film come out, then maybe 2 years later we have the Supergirl movie coming out. So what's the story in between there? Is there a Krypto game that we can play that comes in between them? Something that's still in the world with these
that
characters.
sounds so
But it's
bad.
its own thing.
Oh
You wanna give
man.
prominence to the games that they deserve.
No one. Listen, I like Krypto. I do not want to play a Krypto game. Are you
There already is
serious?
Didn't they already
Krypto
have a Krypto game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Xbox
I know,
Game
but
Pass.
Isn't it a tie-in to the movie that came out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, again, no. I don't see why you would want to tell a news story with Krypto and sell it as a semi-serious game.
Well, this is the film that he was potentially working on. It says Gunn was previously rumored to be working on a solo Krypto film, which he later explained on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast. He says, I wasn't interested in doing a traditional Superman thing. A superpowered dog from Krypton running around the city destroying it while Superman tries to track him down and get him. That seemed interesting to me.
Unless it's Krypto the dog and it's like the Stray game, I have no interest in this. Like,
No one wants that. Everybody
seriously, no one wants that. No one asked for it. No one wants it.
Well, I think it's just a very extreme example of the possibilities that he's thinking of, because I think what he's talking about, hey, like we could do like a Krypto video game. He's just using Krypto as an example of, hey, we can use like this other kind of character, this ancillary character to do like a really
well, if I was David Zaslav, I'd be calling him in the office and telling him to stop saying stupid shit.
Yeah, and on top of that too, like, do we have to remind people how long it takes to make a video game? Unless this video game is like 5 hours long or 10 hours long, this is like, that would be such a waste of everybody's time. Like, what studio is going to make that? What Warner Brothers studio is going to make that? Like, what would even be the gameplay?
There's a rumor that the reasons Sefton Hill and the other guy, the founders of Rocksteady, left Rocksteady, is that they're about to go form a new game studio that'll be exclusively making DCU video games. I don't know if that's true or not, but if that is the case, that'd be interesting.
I mean, so they left a studio with potential problems with their newest game to do something that is almost similar.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
I
The rumor is that they'd be working exclusively on movie tie-in games, basically, like set into that universe, and they'd be part of the creative.
Here's the thing.
I just don't like this idea. This is the one thing the DCU should not have. James Gunn should have never said that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with that, RJ. I hate when they do this stuff, right? When they're like, hey, Bill from this studio, from Rocksteady, he's leaving to form his own studio. I'm like, okay, well, Bill's good. But what about all the other people? Like, it's not a one-man studio, right? It's not going to be a two-man studio. They're going to have to hire other people. So just because those two guys are good or worked on good projects doesn't mean they're good leaders, and it doesn't mean they're going to hire good workers, right?
Prime example, the guy who's made BioShock. What has he put out recently since BioShock Infinite?
Even better example, the guy who did fucking Mega Man, then he said, hey, I'm going to do Mighty Number 9, guys.
Yeah, like... Bad.
Oh no, for sure. It could go sideways and be a complete disaster. But to be honest, I honestly don't see the video game thing lasting. I don't think the video game thing is going to be like this big deal. I think they might have one or two games come out like in the next 10 years, and that's it.
I think it could be something like Jedi Fallen Order with Star Wars, where it's like technically, it's part of the canon of the movies, but like you don't need to play that game to understand the shows of the movies. It's just
I hope so.
That
tried that. A lot of people forget this, but in Phase 1 of the MCU, they actually did release games that were technically canon at the time. So you had to have played those games to know what was going on, and then they're like, this is a stupid idea. You've introduced characters that we now cannot introduce into the movies because you killed them off. Like, stop doing this. Like, that's one of the reasons why they stopped making them.
And Jedi Fallen Order, Jesus, is like, so far it hasn't connected with the TV shows. I mean, it might, because we're getting teases.
Well,
but
the only reference thus far was in Book of Boba Fett. There was a BD droid, not BD1, just another BD droid, and there's some other references in there too. That's about it. We
haven't seen Cal or any of the characters show up. So yeah,
the one thing, like the whole gaming stuff, like I can kind of see. I'm just mixed on that thing. It's like I think Gunn said that the game will take like 4 years to make.
If it's gonna take 4 years, it's gonna take longer than that.
Yeah, because like 4 years. Like, what are you expecting to be on that deadline process to be in that 4 years for it to come out? See, that's. I mean, I'm hoping that they go with the Fallen Order route, where it's just like a completely different character and a completely different like sizer that's not connected to this current storyline that they're telling in this universe. I'm just like, I'm hoping it's not that, because not many people play games. Not many people.
Well, a lot of people play, but yeah, just to like, you're separating the audience, right? Because now people who watch movies and don't play games, are going to miss the story, and then vice versa. So
it's like what we said yesterday with the whole Fortnite thing, when Star Wars was like, "Hey, we're going to shove this thing into Fortnite at the very," and then
so stupid.
And then people were like, "What's going on?" At the very beginning of the rise of the Skywalker.
Almost made me thought it was connected to freaking Fortnite or something. Like, they're in the same freaking universe or some things. Those people.
That's the intention.
Come on.
All right. So I read ahead on this Deadline article, so we don't have to. But Mandalorian's EPs David Filoni and Rick Famuyiwa on how series is handling Gina Carano's Cara Dune storyline. This is the clickbaitiest of all clickbaity headlines, because they actually don't say anything.
They're basically they're handling it by not handling it and just saying, "Well, she's just not going to appear. We're not going to talk about
appear.
it."
She exists. They didn't say that they're killing her off. They're just like, yeah, she was a character that was in the show at a time before. Like, yeah, we know that, but what do you do?
Yeah, well, basically they're saying that there's so many characters now, and they're focusing on the Mandalore storyline, that she doesn't really need to appear, and they don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
So what did Gina Carano do again?
Some stupid ass shit.
She went
basically tried being a Twitter warrior.
She compared the plight of Republicans to the plight of the Jewish people during World War II.
Massive reach.
And then when she was asked to perhaps walk that back a little, she wasn't very receptive to that. And then she kind of started making a headache.
Damn, Sean, calling her the B word.
I'm somewhere in the other room. Damn. So yeah. And then it just kind of spiraled, and then she did this whole thing, and then I hear her like parents are rich. Movies. She doesn't even need the acting money anyway.
Yeah.
So
she's got the MMA money.
Can you believe, by the way, that Mando season 3 starts in just a few hours?
I literally forgot that it was like. I forgot that was coming out. I was like, "Oh shit!" It's actually
kind of snuck up on me, to be honest. I kind of forgot it was coming out.
I was focusing on. We were talking about freaking Ant-Man and stuff, and I was like, "Wait, isn't Mando coming out this couple of weeks?" I was like, "Oh shit!" It just snuck up on my back right now. I was like, "Better get on. Oh, I better get on to that tomorrow."
There's so much stuff coming out. It's like, stuff just sneak up on you. Like, oh yeah, Mandalorian's already here. Oh, wait, what?
I probably won't watch that.
Right.
So, no spoilers. All right, so we got two more things. One is a little clip from Entertainment Tonight with Micheal B. Jordan shooting down rumors.
Let's go.
Came back for Black Panther. We were so happy about that. Now you're going to take on the TV role of Black Superman. Right?
Who said that?
I said that.
Yeah, you said that. I ain't say that.
No.
I don't even know about no rumors about that one.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
He's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You think he's just throwing off the side?
I think, no, to be completely honest, I truly believe that he totally forgot about that Black Valzad TV show that he was supposed to be making with HBO. I truly believe he just completely forgot about that. Or he thought that she was asking about James Gunn's Superman movie.
Yeah, who knows? It's confusing.
I don't even think he knows which one she was talking about.
When I read the write up of this interaction, it sounded a lot more aggressive. And then when I was like, "Oh man, he sounds pissed," then I looked at it, I was like, "Oh no, he's laughing and joking." Like,
Mhm.
I think he was caught off guard and he didn't want to like, "Oh shit, I can't say nothing definitive either way." He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. What rumors? Like, because he was smiling and like kind of like being slick about it.
Mm.
Yeah, that's Michael B. Jordan for you.
Yeah, he made it seem like there's actually something still in the works, but he can't say anything about it.
I literally
Sean says it was bait and he didn't take it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, "Oh, you sneaky, you sneaky, you almost got
I
it."
literally forgot that he was actually like supposed to do like a Valzad type of project, which it blew past everybody's radar and just nobody
I
talked
get
about
Wallace
it.
killed again.
Yeah, because there's two Black Superman projects. There's the Ta-Nehisi Coates J.J. Abrams movie where it'd be a Black Clark Kent, and
Which is
then
gonna be
there's Michael,
canceled.
and then there's Michael B. Jordan's project, which would be based on Val Zod or Calvin Ellis, and that'd be an HBO Max show.
Mm.
I heard he was playing Obama in that universe.
What the hell?
He's the Black Superman.
Oh my god!
But we
Have
haven't
you
heard
seen
any-
Legends of Tomorrow? They like spend like 10
You,
minutes.
you keep bringing this one up.
Gorilla
It's so
Grodd. Gorilla
terrible.
Grodd tries to kill Obama.
Oh my god!
But it's like after they rescue Obama, he like sits down and gives like this speech to the superhero about why like it's gonna be changed and like it's like, oh my, it's so cringy.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I mean the weird part is that we haven't heard any updates about the Val Zod, Calvin Ellis Superman show, but apparently they still want to make the Ta-Nehisi Coates, J.J. Abrams Black Clark Kent movie as an Elseworlds film.
Which I'm so like surprised that that's even happening still. Which I'm surprised that that wasn't canceled. Which it's so wild to me.
I still think it's canceled.
I think it's shelved indefinitely, but they don't want to like say it's canceled. It's like the connotation.
So basically, it's like Ryan Johnson's Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know about that. I'm just come on now.
All right, this is what has me worried about the DCU. I know I'm not a huge DC fan, but I was a little
Marvel
excited.
shill. Marvel shill.
I mean, he's being honest though, David.
But here's why. I'll explain. We're gonna read the tweet, and I'll explain why I'm worried personally.
Yeah, read the person's.
I'm going to,
reply.
RJ.
Okay.
You let me.
Yeah.
It says, "Hey David, I don't feel like watching the movie because of the drama happening around DC Studios. Yeah, it is just killing the vibe of the film. There's a lot of uncertainty about DC's future. Just give us an answer whether Shazam will have a role in the future DCU." But David says he definitely won't if people don't go see the movie. What I've been told is that there's nothing in the Shazam films that contradict the future plans for DC. So the possibility for more Shazam is there, and if that's what you want, your best bet is to go see the film.
Which is not. I don't like that line of thinking sometimes.
Can I ask what like the issue is?
The issue for me is this to me says that there is no plan. Like James Gunn, from my understanding, it was supposed to be a plan. He's got this 10-year thing. It's set in stone. This is what we're doing. Because the biggest problem with the DC before was that they were too reactionary, right? Something would happen, a movie would falter a little, and they change plans and scramble, and now you're getting all these different projects and all this shit, canceling things, uncanceling things, right? This was supposed to be like, no, we're going to do this. We have a plan, and here's the movies. But if the movie does good, well, now we're going to shoehorn Shazam in. No Shazam. What if, let me propose this to you guys. What if, for whatever reason, Aquaman 2 flops? Does that mean now whatever project they got Jason Momoa attached to that he's all excited about, they're gonna be like, sorry, Jason, your movie flopped, and now you're persona non grata in Hollywood. We can't put you the face of a new franchise after you just flopped Aquaman 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Aquaman 2 might be bad.
He secured the role for Lola, so like, who gives?
Well, but that's not necessarily true, though. He hasn't. We don't know anything. Nothing has been official.
Sean says this is just a play to get people to see it. Shazam is gonna flop. I hope
here's the thing, like, unless like these movies are toned to set up for this new universe, or make a good conclusion to the universe, who cares?
Can I be honest with everyone? I honestly don't think even if the movie does well, that Shazam's gonna have a future. I think David F. Sandberg's trying to save face, and I respect that. But I think he's more so being like, hey, the movie's not tracking well. People don't want to see it, they don't see it. But it's just like, hey, like if there's even a shot at getting more Shazam, you have to go see the movie, and that's the logical thing to say. I think
Yeah.
James Gunn has already made up his mind, and I don't think Shazam currently in the first 10 years has a plan in the slate.
Well, here's the thing.
They're not going to do much with that character right now, anyway.
Shazam, there's not a lot of stories to tell with Shazam. Like it's kind of hard.
Because you need Black Adam.
Not with it. Yeah, you're right. So
the only other story that they have is the Dr. Savannah and Mr. Mind thing.
Yes.
In the first movie. That's it.
Yeah.
Also, the kids are getting older, so you don't have that much time.
Yeah,
I still feel bad for David F. Sandberg. I mean, he's really cool. Like, I mean, I'm not sure if people know this, but he has a YouTube channel that is just like all filmmaking tutorials and stuff like that. And it's really like, it's pretty cool. So you should check it out. It's called Pony Smasher. But
he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. And listen, I think Shazam 2 will be a fine movie. The problem is that people just don't want to go see it. And I don't know
James
why.
Gunn's DM buddy. So what does he say? Give us the inside track, RJ.
Well, also keep in mind that that March is still packed too. Like,
yes,
it's sandwiched in between Scream 6 and John Wick 4 and John Wick. People are gonna go see. I mean, I know there's people are gonna go see Shazam. There's some people are interested. I'm
not
go
compared to John Wick or Scream.
Yeah,
Scream 6 is like really.
Yeah, but Shazam isn't. John Wick isn't a kid-friendly movie.
Well,
Scream.
Well,
yeah, but
Shazam is like if
the
I'm
thing
gonna
is,
see John Wick, I drop off the kids at Shazam, right? Hey, go watch.
Yeah, possibly.
Well, I think with John Wick, I think some of these movies have very similar audiences because I like Scream, I like DC, I like John Wick.
Yeah, but I'm saying this particular movie.
Well, yeah, true. Shazam is a lot more lighthearted than.
I think
most
it's
of the
a lot
movies.
younger than.
Well, let me say this then. If that's the case, when it comes to like the age demographic thing, right? Because Shazam is considered a family movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, in that case, then, if we're going with that logic, that okay, maybe it won't be too bad. In 2 weeks, on March 31st, another quote unquote family all ages film is releasing, and that's Dungeons and Dragons. That's an all ages family comedy.
It's like. It's Dungeons and Dragons. Like I'm not like,
I don't
excited to go see like.
But that's still going to eat up at its potential audience. Like,
I think that movie's going to flop.
Well,
I agree.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I don't see like. I'm sure it looks fun. I like the trailers. I just don't see it like pulling that much of an audience. To be honest, because I think
if it makes more than Shazam, that's bad. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Sean says James Wan doesn't do a lot of bad films or TV shows.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
There hasn't been one film of his I didn't like.
Yeah, with everything going on with DC, I could see the film still being a good film, Aquaman 2.
But here's the thing: there's so many rumors around this movie. Like people are talking about the fact that this might be a really, really bad movie, and there's a lot of evidence that supports that. And all you have to do is look at the trial that was last year. They talk about the movie quite a lot. So yeah. And honestly, I don't even blame James Wan if the movie is bad, because it sounds like there's so much mess going on with that movie. They were trying to fix it. So I mean, it might not be true, but who knows?
No, because there's also evidence, because if you go read the DC.com article about Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, when they talk about Aquaman 2, Peter Safran's like, well, Jason Momoa always envisioned it as a trilogy, but, we'll see. And then James Gunn's like, let's just wait for Aquaman 2 to come out. He was very dismissive of the notion of an Aquaman 3.
I still want to know what the hell's going on with Blue Beetle, because Superman Legacy
next year.
But hold on, Superman Legacy is supposed to be the official kickoff, right, of the DCU, and then the Flash is supposed to be the end of the old DC. So where the hell
Amber, I'll say this: the rumors has nothing to do with Amber Heard because she's barely in the movie. It's the fact that the movie just straight up sucks. Well, like the whole premise of it is not good.
Right. Like, well, to Blinded's point, like it seems like, and this is not like hyperbolic, Aquaman 2 is basically DC's version of Thor: The Dark World. It's like the exact same plot about two brothers teaming up, who are former enemies to take on this like threat. It's just replaced Malekith with Black Manta and like this ancient power.
Well, Black Manta is already 10 times better than Malekith, so that's one thing I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about.
He's got a better costume, that's for sure.
Mm.
Hey, Sean says Blue Beetle will be a self-contained film. I doubt they will connect the character to James Gunn. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, they can though. Hold on. Wait. Blue Beetle has a heavy connection to a character that was announced in James Gunn's slate, right?
Yeah.
So I
Here's
don't
what
believe
think.
that.
Here's what I think is going to happen. They haven't announced it yet, but I think at some point they're going to be like, Blue Beetle is the first Elseworld movie in the DCU.
Or
Possibly.
they say they're bumping it to 2024, and they're saying, "Hey, Blue Beetle is the first film in the new." It's like you know, like how they have Chapter 1.
Yeah,
they're gonna say the prologue to Chapter 1 starts
Oh,
with Blue
man.
Beetle, Creature Commandos, and Waller.
I don't think
That's
they
your
are.
prologue.
Well, if Ted Kord is not dead, then I'm sure it will be in James Gunn's new universe. Because then they'll just be like, oh, it's Jamie, and then there's Ted Kord. And then you could just skip over Jamie if the movie bombs, which would kind of suck, but is what it is.
I truly believe that they're pushing it to next year because next year the only DC movie is Joker 2.
Joker.
I think they're gonna want another movie.
Sean says it's
Yeah, you might be right.
It'll be
Let's
Elseworld.
see.
Yeah.
Well, here's the scary thing though, right, about Aquaman 2. Supposedly, like they're trying, like the only reason they still want to release is because they think it could make another $1 billion. I don't think it will. I think the first one making $1 billion was a fluke. And especially if the quality is really bad, and that's not going to do well. But supposedly, like the whole reason they're pushing for because they know it's bad, and they're just like, okay, just release it, and then we're going to make Jason Lobo and Superman Legacy. We're just going to move on. Like they really just want to get the movie out and be done with it. But in that case, I'm just like, why didn't you just keep the old release date then? Just make sure you ended properly with Flash. Like, why are we going to let the turd linger in the wind? You know?
I still don't think that Jason Momoa is going to be Lobo.
I agree. It's kind of weird.
Well, one of the weird things is because the interview that everybody quotes, right? Like he said in an interview he wants to be Lobo, and then if you go to the actual interview and you actually take the thing and translate what is said, that's not what he says. They ask him if there was any other characters he wanted in Aquaman 2, and that's when he mentions Lobo.
So,
Is there any other characters you want to play? It's like, is there any other characters you would have included in Aquaman 2? And he says Lobo.
So what would Jason be so happy about after leaving WB that one time?
Who knows?
Hmm.
But it might be something else.
Something.
Everyone just glommed down to that Lobo comment, and they're like, "Oh, he's going to be Lobo," but maybe it's something else that we just aren't aware of yet.
And Lobo could appear in a lot of different places. So it's
Maybe he's
like,
gonna
would
be
he get his
Batman.
own? Oh boy.
I heard rumors
Oh.
that at one point
Oh no.
he was considered for Batman.
No. Oh god. No.
Here's a real question we should, like a real honest discussion we should have real quick though. Like if Shazam 2 flops, and
Which is likely.
which is very likely, Flash flops, Blue Beetle's
That would be
delayed,
pretty bad.
and then
Yeah.
Aquaman 2 flops. Where does
So
that
great.
leave Warner Brothers? And like DC Studios.
To the future of James Gunn.
No, but I mean, like, because, like, are you at all worried that they need these movies to succeed so they have money?
They kind of
I don't
do.
think they need
Yeah.
the movies to succeed to have money, because most of the movies are made with them borrowing money anyway. It's not like they.
Yeah, that's true. But
And I think them flopping would actually be a benefit to James Gunn, right?
Not
if these
really,
movies
though.
are good- Here's why. Let me just.
yeah, okay.
So if they flop, then James Gunn can go, see, guys, what you wanted, what you tried before wasn't working, obviously. Even our best efforts, even Michael Keaton back in The Flash, didn't help. That's why going with my plan is the way to go. Now, if those movies do good, I could see them going, well, maybe James do it a little like how we did. You know, those movies made a bunch of money. Try to keep it close to that stuff.
RJ, what was your question?
Oh, we were talking about DC, and I said, it looks like Shazam 2 is going to financially underperform and flop. And I said, if that movie flops, if Flash flops, if Blue Beetle gets delayed to next year or flops, and Aquaman 2 underperforms the box office, where does that leave Warner Brothers Discovery as a company? Where does it leave DC Studios going into the James Gunn slate?
to success. Because anything can be better than that if it's a complete flop.
Yeah, that's
Right, but I'm
possible.
saying like if you have like
That's
4
an
flops in a
easy
row.
answer.
Yeah, but again, RJ, none of this was under James Gunn, right? These are just
No,
movies.
no, it wasn't. But I'm saying like, would they have to look at that and be like, well, maybe we should take like an extra year off, or should it be like, do we need?
No, they'd probably rush.
no.
If anything, they'd be like, "Hey, let's speed things up because we got to make up."
Absolutely not.
Or I was going to mention too, or they're going to be like, well, we just had 4 huge flops going forward. We're going to have to limit your budgets, James Gunn. Like you can't.
Well,
spend that.
he's already really doing that. But personally, I think they need. I think they need the Flash to be successful. The other 3, not so much. But I think if because the Flash could sort of be a story point for the next DCU, right? It would just be like, oh, it's like the comics, right? Where this all reset and now we have the new universe, right? And then if it still bombs, it's still not a good thing for the brand, just because then everybody would be like, oh my God, the last DC movies all just sucked. Why would I really care about the future?
About BVS,
Yeah, and also
Sure, but then like the general audiences, though. That's what I mean. Yeah.
General audiences as well. A lot of people have got caught wind. Anybody who's going to see the movie has caught wind of the Ezra Miller controversy, but like general audiences, I imagine won't know about that. Yeah. So to your point, who cares? Like, is that basically what you're trying to say? Is like, who cares about that kind of?
I think it both. Like, I see what Tony's saying. It's already bad, but I think people would look at a new Superman movie and go like, well, this could be shit too. Who's to say? Like, they have to reboot, and then what happens if it's not good, right? Like, it can go either way. I feel like
the franchise where he's like, if I'm in that room, I would be like, no, you need to have a Batman and Robin movie like immediately. That will win people over. People like me. Like the first Batman movie I saw in theaters was Batman Begins, and there was no Robin. And I was like, okay, maybe he's in the next one, and I had to wait 5 years and. Grown up a lot since then.
Do not rush Brave.
2003 and 2008. I had to understand like, okay, Joker is in this, and what was the big thing? Oh, the guy who played Joker died, so this is supposed to be a good thing because like his performance was that great, that he died for the role, and that was the narrative that was spun, and I was like. Really disappointed, in retrospect with that narrative, and the fact that he won an Oscar for that, like, cost someone their life to win an Oscar. Like
potentially,
that sucks for a superhero movie. And by the way, he would not have been nominated had he not have died. I will die on that hill that he would not have been nominated or let alone win if he had died. It's just such a shame that people who go above and beyond in these movies, with mental health issues, will just put their heart and soul into this project. It's a superhero movie, and it will go unnoticed. It's just it's really sad. I mean, it really is, but to the point though, I do think that it's really. I forgot what I was going to say. Fuck it.
It's okay.
That's all right. Sean says, "End credit scene for the Flash will introduce a new Superman." Sean is scooping now.
I could see that. I mean, if they hurry.
Flash will return to his timeline. It'll be slightly different. Bam! Here comes new Superman legacy.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what happened in Flashpoint. So yeah, it would make sense.
Yeah. Also, he says he's old because he's seen Batman '89 in the theaters. I also seen Batman '89.
That we have not seen. This is something I was trying to get to. We have not seen Batman and Robin on screen since Batman and Robin, and we know how that went. It's not.
Yeah,
good.
there's a lot of negative connotations with Robin, which I think is really unfortunate because, as I always like to point out, Robin was introduced in Batman issue number 3, only a couple months after Batman's debut, and it came before Alfred and Gotham City and all the other iconic elements of Batman. But yet everybody hates Robin. It's so like. I'm so just like disappointed.
That's why I can't wait for Brave of the Bold to come out and it'll prove them wrong that Robin's actually a great character.
Yeah, the
I
Brave and
hope.
Bold. I want that to be, instead of like Superman Legacy being the leading part of it, like I want a real good, like people say, like, oh, the Bat Family. I don't know what the fuck the Bat Family is.
You will.
Fuck them. No. Batman,
and that's why we keep
Robin.
getting the same old gritty, realistic Batman all by himself, moping all the fucking time. We need something different with Batman. God damn it. Batman has been eccentric to Batman since the beginning, as he said.
Bring back the 1960s Batman. There you go.
Batman and Robin kicking ass, and especially Robin kicking ass. That's so important. And that's why I'm so mad that, like, okay, we're gonna leave with the Superman movie. Ugh, again.
Punches says,
why would you do that? Why would you do that instead of having a Batman and Robin?
Because Superman is just as important as Batman. Hot take.
All right, so Pull No Punches says introduce Nightwing first, then go back in time to show Robin.
Who gives a fuck, Batman and Robin? That's my point.
I mean, we know that they're doing Damian Wayne, and I mean there is a good. Decent story arc. The first story arc
in that, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to introduce Damian Wayne first. I just feel like, but yeah.
So we got to go over this because I found it very funny. Because this is rumor Star Wars projects with deepfaked Luke, Han, and Leia in the works.
Bullshit.
No. Because
wrong.
This rumor was started by somebody in our chat.
I don't see
actually,
them.
I see them trying to do that. I actually do see them trying to do that.
Oh, really?
Hold on. A new rumor has stated that Lucasfilm will announce a new series of Disney Plus shorts starring Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia Organa at the upcoming Star Wars celebration. Sean O'Rourke, an industry professional who, according to IMDb's bio, has over 20 years of experience working with renowned like Warner Brothers, Disney, and Netflix, recently posted on YouTube claiming to have heard a rumor of new Disney Plus series coming at Star Wars celebration of a series of short films with Luke, Han, and Leia. The post also included the hashtag deepfake and hashtag CGI, as well as de-aged image of Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones, Mark Hamill's Luke, and Carrie Fisher's Leia, suggesting that these rumored live-action shorts will be set during the original trilogy timeline and use deepfake technology to create era-appropriate versions of the main trio.
Oh my god!
What have you done?
This rumor should be taken with a grain of salt.
Let me get the rope real quick.
This article was also covered by Star Wars Theory.
Sean just posted about that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh man.
George says I trust Sean more than these clowns scoopers on Twitter.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know, Sean's a good dude. Sean's a good dude, but I don't see it. I don't know. Doing it.
I actually just would try that one day.
It's so random. I could believe it.
I mean, with the whole shit with freaking Luke, with him being in Boba Fett, it's still like weirds me out a little bit. Like it's that, like, I don't know.
This is them trying to redeem the mistakes, or at least what people believe are mistakes.
Yeah, but all roads lead to the sequel trilogy, which is the criticism that a lot of people have, which are not invalid necessarily, but I can't disagree with the fact that, yeah, it's ultimately going to lead to The Last Jedi and a lot of blah, blah, blah talking points that we've heard before. And, you know, if it's going to lead to that point, you either have to have a very goddamn great reason, and it's going to have to be excellent storytelling to the point where it's going to not only satisfy everyone, but it's going to be better than like fucking Pulp Fiction. That's how good it has to be. That's how great it has to be in order to justify, the Force Awakens and the Last Jedi.
Trust me, bro.
And not only that, you not only have to satisfy, those pissed off fans, but you also have to make sense to other people who felt the same way, like regular fans who just want a good story, and you have to encapsulate that. And that's why, like, I just have I don't care about season 3 of The Mandalorian. I don't give a fuck. If it's good, I'll watch it. And if it's bad, I'll just, not say anything about it, because at this point, I have given up, because the end result is Luke Skywalker being him in The Last Jedi. And I don't know. Like, as much as I like, The Mandalorian, it's the end of season 2. I'm like, that was very cathartic, because
we're gonna find out which Jedi rescued Grogu.
What?
Aren't you excited to find out which Jedi rescued Grogu?
No.
Remember the short films that were anime?
I don't care. I don't care.
No, we're just talking about the rumor here.
Well, some of us do care, Justin.
No, I know.
Casual.
Well, what I'm saying is,
I'm not saying you can't care, but okay. I'm just saying, Luke Skywalker supersedes everybody, and
I think what Sean is saying.
I'm not very optimistic about.
I don't think they're doing deep fake technology. I think Sean put that in as a troll. I think what he's really saying is there's probably going to be some animated shorts with Luke in them.
Kind of like Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, because you put Star Wars Celebration, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, CGI, deep fake technology, Star Wars Disney Plus. And then if you scroll up to today, because this is where I seen the article. I hope Disney will still hire me in the future. I'm going to shut up now. Star Wars Theory. Star Wars Theory. They covered the article. I didn't see that coming.
Wait. What's Star Wars Theory reacting to?
The article we just.
The article, yes.
Oh, okay.
It's based on Sean's
little comment on YouTube.
Little YouTube comment.
Oh, Star Wars Theory, you little.
Oh, Sean's thing got a full article. I was gone for a second.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what happened.
They got a full article on CBR. They basically covered it. I don't know. They took this little 2-sentence thing here, this little 1 sentence dragged out, and turned it into like a 4-page fucking magnum opus about how deepfake technology is great and it's going to come back and do all this shit.
Wow.
Deepfake is not that hard to do. I could do it right now.
I love those comments from Sean. Like, yes. I love it.
Sean's stock just rose. Everybody's he's the new scooper. He's a new scooper.
No, man.
It's gotten 50,000 views on Star
Wars. Yes!
Oh my God!
President that,
you might get an interview.
Every time he comments, it's just like, yes.
Comment on the video, Sean. Be like, I'm open to an interview, Star Wars Theory, if you want me on. He says he loves you too.
No, man.
Oliver disagrees with you here. He says, "Oh man, Luke was one of the best parts of the Last Jedi." Not Last Jedi. Last Jedi. Rise of Skywalker just tried to walk back literally every risk that Last Jedi took in pursuit of the brain-turned off fan service. Oof.
Oliver.
That is partly true.
I understand what you're saying, but
you disagree.
Yeah.
I think Last Jedi isn't a bad film.
Look, Ryan Johnson should just stick with making Knives Out movies. Just put it that way. I don't want to rehash anything.
What I'm saying though is Last Jedi is a good film on its own, right? If it wasn't a Star Wars film, he just took it like on its own thing, and maybe give it 2 other movies to surround it into a trilogy of its own. I think that would work. And if you take out Last Jedi and put in a different movie to go with Force Awakens and Rise of the Skywalker, maybe that would work out better.
If The Last Jedi was the ending trilogy, it'd probably work much better.
Like if it was the last installment, yeah.
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 Yeah, because it's really not a bad movie, but like it just has, like once it ends, you're like, well, isn't there a third movie? What the fuck are they supposed to do now?
Not just that, but like because of the stuff in the Force Awakens. Okay, so maybe scrap the last.
That too. Yes.
No. Scrap the last one, and instead, here's the brilliant idea. JJ, you fucking idiot! You should have thought of this beforehand.
Oh,
Your
no.
backstory for the Force Awakens was much more interesting than the Force Awakens. Like you could have had that whole backstory explained where Kylo Ren, like turns to the dark side and slaughters all of the Jedi Knights there at Luke Skywalker's Academy. And you could have had a scene with Luke, Han, and Leia in there. The backstory of Kylo Ren, that's all explained in The Force Awakens. That could have been the first movie. No Rey. Rey sucks. Get rid of her.
Wow.
She's irrelevant.
You hate women.
May I make a comment?
No, I hate Rey. I hate irrelevant characters.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think RJ wants to talk.
My take. This is my take.
You could have had Kylo Ren as a woman, and I would be fine with it.
All right. RJ, you got the floor.
That's how much
We're going to mute you in a second, Justin.
No, I think Justin's on a delay. It's not his fault. StreamElements like that. No, I was gonna say I think there's two easy ways to make Last Jedi a much more digestible movie and a better movie. It's really quite simple. All you do is you keep the scene where Luke mourns the loss of Han the moment he realizes he's dead. And two, when Rey hands him the lightsaber, you remove the part of him throwing it behind him and throwing it away. You take those two scenes out, it makes it an infinitely better movie. That's all you have to do. Those two scenes right there fix the whole movie.
I don't know about
well, actually, not the whole movie. Let me rephrase
you shorten the Canto Bite
scene. Get rid of Canto Bite. Yeah, you like significantly change Canto Bite. But in terms of the Luke character, just take out the lightsaber throwing scene, add back in the Han mourning scene. Infinitely better movie for that character. That's all you had to do.
Oliver says you can't take out The Last Jedi and make Rise of Skywalker work. Nothing makes Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, it doesn't. Rise of Skywalker is an infinitely worse movie than The Last Jedi. It is just so bad.
John says Rey should have taken the Sith throne and struck out.
I like Rise of Skywalker.
It should have ended Last Jedi. Like it should have ended on a cliffhanger where Kylo Ren offers his hand to Rey, and you have no clue what she's going to say or do.
I think it should have been they joined together because it would have been different. You kill the villain and you go down a different path. So now it's like them with the villain, and that's because you have 3 trilogies where it's like, okay, at the ending of the prequels, he turns into a bad guy. Luke becomes the hero. Why not do something different? Yeah, well, it rhymes, but once you have a 3rd trilogy, you have to do something different. So why not have the hero and the villain join and do something else? Yeah.
He makes Finn like he becomes a Jedi in the 3rd movie and has to confront Rey or something, try and bring her back.
Something, yeah. Like that would have been interesting. It's like, okay, where do you go from here? We've never seen something like this.
Well,
what do you do?
Up to begin with when the Force Awakens ended, it was really hinted that Finn and Rey were going to hook up. That was the couple.
Yes. Why didn't that happen?
And then suddenly in the next movie they're like, no, here's Rose.
Because you don't know why? I think it's because it's a racial thing, and they didn't want the black guy hooking up with the white girl.
I don't think
he's mother.
I think
what?
Right, but I don't think he's right for the reasons that he's saying. I don't think it was because of the interracial relationship. I think it was because in order to play in China, you couldn't have the African American character. Or black. But
he still has a role in the movie, though.
Yeah, but his role is reduced significantly. They take him out of the poster.
Kind of, but kind of not. Like I like the stuff with Canto Bite. I mean, it's irrelevant, but I kind of liked it.
It would have been infinitely better if the Shadow Broker, or what was the name of it, the Code Master, what was the name of the character? If it was Lando, it should have been Lando that they met, and then you tie that in where it would have actually made kind of sense. Instead of shoehorning in Lando in the 3rd movie to where it doesn't make sense at all.
Or you could do the famous romance triangle They didn't need to be together. Like
Hmm.
he just like tease. You know what I mean? That's more interesting in my
Are they
opinion.
related though? They kind of shoehorn some.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, kind of not.
Well, did you love how in the Rise of Skywalker they introduced Jana, or that nomadic woman living on the
Yeah,
Death Star, and she's actually Lando's long lost daughter.
lost daughter.
That's what I thought.
Yes,
They were
yes.
implying. I was like,
Yeah, that was
I don't wanna be
implied. That
racist
was
if,
implied,
there
but
were
they
two
cut out
black
the scene.
characters there.
Yeah, it's only because they reviewed it in the book and in the behind the scenes stuff, but they said they cut out the scene where like she actually said her backstory and about her dad. And
Yeah,
it's like directly Lando.
It's
It's like-
implied in the movie still, and I thought that, but I was like, am I being racist because there are only two black characters, and I'm assuming they have to feel Lando's daughter?
Lando even mentioned it all. He had a daughter in the actual film itself.
No. I think there's a one moment at the ending where it's like, I think it is yeah. I thought that was. I mean, it is wonky and weird because it's not really explicitly said all that clearly, which is weird. Why not just cut it out of the movie, right?
Yeah, there's like a feeling, like you watch the scene, there's like a vibe that you're like, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so much
Yeah.
going on in that final scene, like the victory celebration, because you have the gay kiss in the background, which is just like the pandering. You have Chewie getting the medal, which is fan pandering in the worst possible way, because it doesn't even make sense why he gets a medal from Maz Kanata. It's just like, why would he get a medal? Like, there's not even a medal, like a ceremony going on. Then you have like the Lando moment, which makes no sense in the context of the film. It's just bad. It's just a bad.
It is. I agree.
And this is a hot take, but I think Kylo Ren should have lived. I think killing him.
No, yeah, I agree with that too. That's not a hot take. No, like I don't know why they even. You could have set up more stories with that character.
Well, there was so much with the Knights of Ren. Were like,
yes, where did that go? Where did that go? Yeah, there were nobodies. Holy shit!
What's her name? Was a nobody? Hux. Like she's got this bad great armor. Like, oh, she's got to be dope. Cause look at, she's got this special.
And what was the point of the bounty hunter woman in Rise of Skywalker? What was her name?
Vessel, and she's hot. That's why she is.
But she was
and she had a thing with Poe. Yeah.
I don't care. She was gorgeous, and that is so.
We didn't even see her face though.
We did. We know what her face looks like, and her face is beautiful.
Who
cares? Who cares? That's the least of the concerns of that movie.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody always says things like this, like Kylo and Rey should have been Janie and Jason Solo. They didn't want to pay the money. That's why they made the extended universe uncanon, because they would owe royalties to those characters because they didn't create them. Disney's not going to like. We just bought Star Wars, and now we're going to pay more money to someone else.
Interesting character and leave alive the most boring one.
Well, because if you remember when they were developing The Force Awakens, originally it was Michael Arndt who wrote. I think it was The Incredibles.
Yeah, that's the point.
It was. I forget what Michael Arndt wrote, but he wrote a script that was completely different from the movie we got. Then JJ's like, he comes in, is like, we're going to redo this. Let's bring in Lawrence Kasdan. And the mandate from Bob Iger was it needs to be as nostalgic as possible because the prequels were so bad. We need to like make people care about Star Wars again. Just remake A New Hope. And that's what they did because they needed to win back the audience. So even though Michael Arndt was a bit more original.
Is that really what happened?
No. Bob Iger legit, like if you read Bob Iger's memoir, he actually basically explains that, we basically like played it super safe with The Force Awakens, and we kind of redid the movie to make it more nostalgic and easier for the audience to digest it.
They didn't really.
And here's the thing: like this is what makes me upset with creatives. Like I understand, like you seem like you're a hired gun, like Michael Arndt, like whatever. But you at a certain point. You have to stand up to executives and just say.
Well, he stood up to them, Justin.
No, you're not listening to my point.
Snyder, and they're like, "Oh, you're standing up."
You are jumping. Hold on. Let me finish my point, please. For the love of God, there's a certain point where the detriment of the film and the audience perspective is going to be detrimented because you decide, oh, we must do this, oh, we must do that. And really, all anyone wants is a good fucking film and a good time at the theater and a good installment, especially if you are planning a trilogy and you want to plan this out. By the way, you should have planned it.
Yeah.
And you should make it a good time in the theater, because here's the thing: you have such a great I'm so mad at JJ Abrams because he had all the tools in his hands, and then he just fucked it up. He threw it out the window, and instead of having that interesting backstory with Kylo Ren, which I think would have been a great first movie of Luke Skywalker's at the Academy, and he's training a bunch of people, and Adam Driver is one of them, is Kylo Ren, and then he turns evil, and then he's talking to you could have had Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill act together again, which is what Mark Hamill was really upset about. Like, he is like, I'm never going to be working with Harrison ever again. And he was very mad about that. He was very upset, and you could have had like Luke, Han, Leia, Lando, like everyone together again. And then shit goes down with the whole betrayal or whatever is the backstory is in The Last Jedi. And you could have had that. And then you could have had, like, I guess, a Force Awakens thing. But if you have Harrison Ford for one movie and one movie only initially, why not take advantage of that and make a good movie as opposed to The Force Awakens? I don't know.
Well, no, Justin, like, I understand what you're saying. Like, the only point I was trying to make, though, is that Michael Arndt did stand up for himself, but he stood up for himself by walking away from the project. Like, he just left.
Hold on, Arjun.
And that's when Lawrence Kasdan came in.
Arjun. Blue Jay's heading out, so thank you for being here. Blue Jay, you want to plug anything while you're here?
I'm sorry I ranted.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, so whatever. Yeah, do that real quick.
I'm probably going to head out, too.
Yeah, well, the show's coming to an end anyway. We're 2 hours in. I think that's
we're really tired.
I'm really sorry if I killed the mood or if I.
No, it's
it's
okay. Yeah.
Fine.
I deal with this all the time.
Yeah.
Especially whenever we talk about the sequel trilogy, it's like I just stay silent.
This is why
I'm
we
the only one that
don't
loves The Force Awakens and likes Rise of Skywalker, and I just got to be silent, and everyone would just trash the trilogy.
Man, I was quiet for so long, by the way.
No, it's nothing you did. Blue Jay was leaving. I was just going to give him a chance to plug anything.
I'm trying to look for my shit going on because this thing
And
is.
then DL just said he was leaving too.
Try to look in the toilet for your shit.
Oh, damn.
RJ, you up to anything that you want to plug before we leave?
Nothing currently. I was thinking about doing a stream tomorrow, but I think I'm just gonna take tomorrow off. I'll probably do some kind of stream this week again. I'll talk about something.
You can do like a helicopter type thing, or
I don't know yet. I don't know. All I know is that hey, I jumped like 5 subs this week, so that's nice. Make sure you're subscribed.
That's fantastic. Sub to Blue Jay. I put his link in the chat. Give him a sub.
Everybody go sub.
Also sub to RJ if you haven't. If you're one of
Hey,
one of
Blue
the few
Jay,
people
I
here,
saw
not
you in my backyard the other day. You know,
What?
yeah, in the my father has this thing for for birds, like a bird feeder, and you were there, and I was very happy to see you there.
That was some good shit, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
It's a little too spicy for my taste, but you know.
Well, you know what? Sometimes it is a little spicy, but sometimes, you know what? I'll make sure that the bird feeder is more suitable for your taste.
All right. So,
man.
Here's RJ's channel.
Sorry,
RJ.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
That is good. All right. Take care, guys.
RJ is sub. DL, what are you up to this week?
Well, I'm finishing up reviewing all the Rocky and Creed movies. Creed 2, my review should be up sometime tomorrow. And then started talking about the Transformers films leading up to Rise of the Beast. Harry Potter podcast should be up relatively soon. I have a lot going on. So yeah,
Harry Potter, that's you can't talk about that.
too bad.
Yeah,
I'm talking about it. I will take the risk because I love Harry Potter. I will talk about it.
I also haven't seen Creed 2, so sometimes
really
I
good.
think I enjoy reviews of movies I haven't seen more than reviews of movies I have seen. Because I've seen a movie, so I don't care what people think about it at that point, right? It's like,
Mhm.
it's
Sure.
like, oh, I haven't seen Creed. Let me see what somebody thinks about it.
Well, good. Check out my reviews. If you don't care about seeing the movie, I guess I don't know.
No, because I mean, I'm not really interested in seeing the movie, right? So if I'm not really interested in it, I'll check a review out, and then if the review makes the movie seem interesting, then I'll check it out because I don't care about spoilers, right? I know the good guy wins 99% of all movies. The good guy gets his goal, he wins, he accomplishes it. Right? It's the journey to get there that it really matters.
Mhm.
Justin, you want to plug anything?
Aside from myself, I think you're gonna really like my. I had a conversation earlier today about the differences between Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and Cocaine Bear. What works, what doesn't work, and what the young director of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey can learn, from his mistakes, because this was like his big, debut as a director, and it fucking sucked. So, it's and he's younger than me. He can't be older than 24. No fucking way. So, and he has a lot of potential. He has his name out there. So, hopefully, the notes that we give, he will probably not ever watch because it's so fucking long. But hopefully he will learn from his mistakes and learn to be better. Much like how when we get actual feedback from other people, like, oh, this stream could have been better, this video could have been better because of this reason and whatever. Mostly because I'm not on there for Tony. But we can only get better when we actually be honest with each other and say what works, what doesn't work, and how do we improve from that. It's supposed to be uplifting, and I really hope that anyone who is a filmmaker, takes those notes into heart and, takes it into consideration and makes the best movies that they can, because their first mistakes can be less of mistakes than we used to have. So
Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
Great point. I look forward to watching some of that content. I haven't seen Cocaine Bear yet, but you say it's good, so I'm going to go out and watch it.
I think it's great. It's good, stupid fun, which is the exact thing that you bring to other people's channels. By the way, this is the first time I'm on your channel, and I actually really admire and appreciate the maturity that you have presented yourself on this stream. I'm actually very impressed.
Well, thank you.
Don't watch our Saturday show.
Yeah, don't watch that. I think I'm a little less mature when I go on other people's streams. 'Cause I'm not running the show, right? So I'm a little more.
Yeah, now you know what it's like. That's why I seem so boring when I run my own shows, as opposed to being on other people's shows, because you feel free and you feel wild and crazy.
And also because when I'm on other people's shows, I don't have to worry about my channel being flagged. I just say whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You give no
Oh, man.
fucks. You give no fucks. You're unfiltered. And when people go on your channel, they're like, we want that unfiltered, no fucks given. And when you seem as calm and presented and just like, it's like you're like a frog with the fucking crown, as like in a suit and tie, just like, yep, we're gonna do this. We're gonna ask some questions. That's great.
Oh man.
Most of the time, it's business as usual on the channel. We just
Yeah.
real calm and relaxed. Saturdays when we get kind of wild. We used to do an after show where it was like no holds barred. This is getting deleted. Don't worry about it. Just say what the fuck you want.
Is this actually getting deleted?
No, this is safe.
Oh man, I made an ass out of myself.
That's all right.
I wish it would be deleted. No.
We'll be sure to remind everybody to watch it. Hey, have you seen Justin making an ass of himself? Come check out this. All right, Blinded, you're up. You plugging anything? You doing anything special? You're going to do secret shows like you do on Sunday and not tell anybody?
Yeah. It's always on Sunday. Go subscribe to my channel, and I won't put a link, so then you can't subscribe.
Justin, this guy's on our panel. He's one of our team members. He's one of our boys. He's the right-hand man of the Frog. And then he does the stream. He doesn't say anything. He does his own thing. Like I find out like 2 days later, Blinded was streaming on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday, I always stream. You could show up. It's a secret.
Okay, it's always a Sunday fun day for you.
The after show felt dangerous in nature. I miss it. It was dangerous. What we're gonna do? Maybe we'd look at women's butts and see which one. What celebrity?
Or people died.
Yeah.
People might die on that after show stream. Never come back.
That's when we watched the cat. People got all like upset with me. I just for context, we weren't watching like cat abuse videos. We were watching like a Twitter thing. We're like, look at this jerk. Like it was like to point out how bad the situation was, not to like because we like watching cats being abused. Let's clarify here. Adam Wilson says it's like a party at someone else's house. Don't have to be responsible. Yeah, you don't have to clean up afterward. You could just leave beer cans everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I did at whenever we watched the Lord of the Rings Amazon show on Max's channel, where we had to be quiet the whole time, basically, and that was so boring. And I was the only one talking, and
he yelled at me. I remember that.
Yeah, it was so infuriating because, like, it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, just not talk the whole time? And everyone
watch parties are weird because sometimes it's like you want to shut up so you can hear, but you also have to put on a show for the audience. It's like, how do you make?
I was the only one trying, even though it didn't work. Maybe, but
well, it's weird because you guys don't know how to do it. Look.
You don't know how to do it. Well, I didn't know how to do it there, but
what I'm saying is there. You guys got to talk to each other about what the show is. The people in the chat aren't watching most of them, right? They want to hear your reactions. They want to know what you're thinking or what's going on through your lens, and you're not giving it to them.
Yeah, it's got to be like commentary.
Yeah. That's what I tried to do. Like when we watched She-Hulk, I'm like, oh my god, that happened. This is going on. And everyone's like, shut up, we're watching the show. I'm like, are we watching the show or are we live streaming? Like, what's going on here? And like, because there's people in the chat that are wondering what we're just sitting here. Like, quiet. Avatars on the screen, just silent. Like,
yeah, it doesn't always make the most entertaining viewing experience. I mean, you have to be purposeful when you're doing a watch party and reacting to things. If you talk to the whole thing, then you don't get to enjoy it yourself. But you have to offer something. You
need to watch. You need to react the whole time. You need to be Mystery Science Theater up in that bitch. It's not about the show. And if you're more concerned about watching the show, then you don't belong at the watch party.
Or you could watch it and then come back and then give your commentary because now you watched it, right? And so you know which parts that you got something to say on, right?
You want to watch it, you want to absorb it, and you want to view it as a whole, like not necessarily nitpick little things. And I had no investment in it. Like I didn't care. I just watched those 2 episodes, with them. So I didn't care. But
so what it sounds like is we have to do a watch party now just to show everyone how it's done.
I think
red letter media style.
That's a great proposal. I would love all of you gentlemen to join. And if I can be invited, Tony, if you want to host it, I'd be grateful for that. A watch party for things that we have all already watched before. We can give commentary, and maybe
Ant-Man 3 because it's so bad.
Yeah, maybe even pre-record it, and then you can make some edits, with the actual clips in there, so it's visually interesting.
Well, I know that I need to watch the Scream movies before Scream 6 comes out.
Are you fucking serious? Have you not seen
leave him
Scream?
Hold on. I've seen the first one. I've never seen any of the sequels.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm being dead serious. I was planning on doing a marathon before Scream 6.
Well,
you better get to it.
Do it. Stream it, and actually don't stream it. Just watch it on your own. Fuck it.
I was debating. I could stream it, and then
you can, but people are gonna spoil it for you. And just watch it. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the greatness that is Wes Craven for those first 4 movies, and then
like I said, I've seen the first one. I think everyone's seen the first one. Just the other ones I haven't seen.
All right. Now that everybody's plugged their stuff, now that we've proposed a watch party, I do have the PlayStation 5 hooked up to the capture card. So Disney Plus, all the stuff that goes through their Netflix, we can watch just about anything in the backstage. So we'll definitely figure something out. With that said, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for being part of the panel. Even Blue Jay, who took off early because he was tired. Thank you for watching. Make sure you drop a like on the way out. And of course, as always, love, peace, booty grease. We out this bitch.
Peace.